today. We're going to, before we call roll call, I'm just going to kind of lead you down the path of events tonight. So we have some special guests tonight that have graciously agreed to lead us in the pledge. So we'll kind of do that, but right before we get into the whole crux of the meeting here, we're going to have a special presentation and offer some praise to some athletes from the community. It's not on the agenda, but we're not voting on it, so we can do it. So we're gonna. All right. So with that, Ms. Clerk, can you call the roll to get us started?
Mr. Fodor? Here. Mr. Kelly?
Present.
Mr. Coe?
Present.
Mr. Matt?
Present.
Ms. Palestrini? Here. Mr. Robinson?
Present. All right, awesome. Now, special guests, would you mind coming up and introducing yourself and telling and starting us off with the pledge? The three ladies with the medals.
Yes.
Come on down.
Right out the middle.
And then you can you can set that there. And then we'll get into the reason why they're here after they lead us in the pledge, but we have to do the pledge to get started. Okay, if you're willing and able, please rise for the pledge, and then we'll follow your lead, okay?
Yeah.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, so now other than having some pretty cool hardware, right? Coach Todd, where's Coach Todd? Coach Todd reached out and asked if we wanted to see their office. So we were covering Mr. Robinson, which is a good place for it. So I'd like Coach Todd to kind of give an introduction, explain why we're here.
Thank you for having us here today, board. We really appreciate it. These three ladies this year have made history for Hampshire High School, being the first sectional winners for girls wrestling, the first state placers for Hampshire High School for girls wrestling, and the first wrestling team that has brought home a state trophy. So they've made history for Hampshire High School this year. We're very proud of them, and we are actually getting two of them back next year. Sam Deal here is a sophomore, or is freshman, sorry. Amelia is a sophomore. We're going to miss Annalise next year, who is a senior for us. So like I said, this is a big occasion for the first time that we've had state placers, but also bringing home a state trophy in wrestling for the first time in Hampshire High School history.
Well, I would also like to add that Coach Todd and I and Mr. Sterrett, who happens to be here tonight, are working really closely trying to find a way to honor you, and we're going to put a sign with your names on it that'll be here forever with your accomplishments. We're trying to figure out exactly where, but we're going to get that done, right, Mr. Sterrett? Right. Absolutely. So, like you go into the other towns and you see that they're the home of, that's what we're going to have for you girls. They take me down for sure. We couldn't be more proud of you girls. Thank you so much for coming, and congratulations on your accomplishments. Does the board have anything that they'd like to add? Congratulations.
Yeah.
Congrats.
Congratulations. Amazing.
Great. You guys want to take some pictures? Sure. Go ahead.
That one with the mayor and the Hampshire. Yeah. Board members doesn't matter. It's got to be for mayor.
No, I don't discriminate.
They're like the people like, I can go see another the sun.
Also, being remiss that we didn't recognize the coaches here. So we have Coach Crenshaw, is he here?
Yep, right over there.
Coach Mullen, who had the honor, I don't know if I ever passed your class or not.
It's pending.
And then Coach Omola. Can I sneak in and grab a picture?
Yeah, go ahead.
Where do you want me?
In the middle.
I'll stand up. All right, coaches, you want in on this? Oh, yeah.
Ellie, you want me to move to the right though, because we're,
Yeah, we'll have plenty.
the girls stay in the center
Girls stay.
on the other side.
All of us.
Yeah, girls are the focus.
All right.
Way to go, girl.
Sorry to be welcome to stay, because most people like to leave. Are you gonna?
And the best part is for the girls and coaches and families, you don't need to stay. You're welcome to, but you don't need to.
Thanks so much.
Yes, thank you all.
So much.
Tom.
Oh,
Okay.
I always go back and get it. So finally, it's, you know.
That's all I can tell you, man. Right. Okay. Everybody else? So much. Thank you.
Saves long.
Tough people.
Did Dave speak out too?
He did.
Yeah.
He's an investor.
There goes the public works building.
No, no.
Jay.
Okay, Jay went too.
Are you, Jimmy?
Yeah.
Yeah, you got here. I want to be the best wrestler in the room.
All right, thank you so much for indulging me this evening. I know it wasn't on the agenda, but we thought it was something that was really exciting. And so, good evening, Ms. Lyons. Do we have anyone sign up to speak?
No.
All right, that's what I like to hear. Next, we have the meeting minutes from February 20th, 2025. Please review them at this time. Off back, Mr. Sterrett, Mr. Hedges. We thought we lost you in the crowd.
I have a couple edits for page 3 under public, well, I shouldn't say under 3. Yeah. Under 5, for the ayes, we have to add Palestrini. So I had come in during public comments. So I have voted on that one for the meeting minute. Yeah. And then on page 6, under accounts payable, we have to add trustee Mott to the roll call vote for the ayes. Otherwise, there's no abstentions and there's no record of in voting at all. That's it.
Any other changes to the minutes? I will entertain a motion to approve the minutes with the changes from trustee Palastrellini.
So moved.
Seconding.
Questions, comments? All in favor?
I
Opposed? Thank you. Good evening, Mr. Hedges.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor. Thank you.
Oh,
We have tonight,
I apologize. Can I cut you off right at the beginning?
pardon me?
I apologize. Can I cut you off right at the beginning?
Sure, go right ahead.
So we have, we're gonna have a presentation on the Public Works Garage. But there was an email sent earlier today about the Public Works contract, because it wasn't included in the packet. So I just know that as we talk about the contract, staff has reviewed it, legal has reviewed it. You do have a copy of it in your inbox. Just know that as we talk about the contract. And then I do have a question for item B for Mr. Baselli before your report. I'm sorry, I figured I'd get all this out of the way first. Item B, we have a motion to deny police pension municipal compliance report. I was concerned. I'm concerned that we have a motion to the negative. I didn't know that that was possible. I really thought that we only had to be able to vote on things in the affirmative.
It is preferred that they are in the affirmative, but they are not required to be in the affirmative. They are preferred to be in the affirmative. You always try to have an affirmative matter, but it is not required on a round.
So as is presented, we can proceed.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm just,
No, it's an excellent question. It's an excellent question, and I'm glad that you asked it. I'm glad I was here to answer it.
I'm glad you're here as well, even with your new shoes.
Well, it's the first day of the NCAA tournament, so.
Yeah, but you don't play basketball.
I very poorly. But it is, yes, it's fine. You're right. If you notice, everything else is in the positive, and we always try to do the positive, but this is more elegant to do.
Appreciate it. Thank you for your positivity.
Thank you.
Mr. Hedges, back to you.
Thank you. With that, we will have a presentation presented by Lamp Incorporated and Kluber. We have with us tonight Chris Hansen, who's been the primary architect on this project. And also with us is Tom McGrath, the Vice President of Lamp. At the last meeting, the board asked us for an update on the plans for the Public Works Garage. You're going to see tonight some graphics as well as some numbers, costs, as well as the timetable. Chris?
Thank you, Jay. Good evening, everyone. Quick update. The presentation material you'll see tonight is the exact same presentation material that we had shown you previously. But this just gives you kind of an update on the facility size, the way it's laid out on the project site. And then Tom will be providing you some information on the excellent bids that we've had for the project as well. So that'll be at the tail end of this. So if we go to the next slide. One more. Do you want to come over so you can see?
Yeah, you don't have to stand off to the side. You can stand wherever you want.
Wherever you want.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Move
stand
your-
by the
Bring your
wall.
chair.
Bring your
Just turn it
chair.
around.
And then you guys are welcome to move about the camera.
So the Public Works project is, as you can see, located here on the western portion of the parcel that the city owns. This has not changed since the last time we've seen it. The Public Works parking on the inside does accommodate over 26 vehicles and 2 handicapped parking stalls on site. And you'll see the principal entrance point is off of Town Place Road. Also point out that we did look at some master planning for future development of the site to make sure and confirm that placement of the building on the property is going to work with your future plans as well. If we go to the next slide, the principal area of the building is the large fleet garage, which you see at the bottom of the screen. I will point out, just due to the slide size, the north actually got turned to the left. In the previous slide, it was pointing up. But for orientation purposes, the large vehicle garage, which is what we call a pull-through garage, is at the bottom of the screen. Fleet maintenance or the repair of vehicles and a small wash bay are off to this portion of the building's wash bay, fleet maintenance for the vehicles. Shops for the crew. Employee support includes things like a multi-purpose training kitchen lunchroom area. And then in the pink is the administrative areas of the building. And then the other employee support areas, which would be laundry, boot, drying, hose down room, as well as locker room facilities are in that portion of the building. So this plan has not changed whatsoever from the initial concept that we presented to you previously. Go to the next slide. The exterior images of the building, the administrative core, which is the primary viewpoint coming into the site, consists of a pitched roof in a one-story configuration. That's primarily going to be your administrative core, lunchroom, training, and locker room facilities. With the larger building form in the back is your shops, your garage, and whatnot, where we do need the additional height. Specifically, also, we need that height in the fleet maintenance area to be able to raise the vehicles within the garage space. None of this has changed from the presentation we did with you many months ago. Next slides, just some continuation of the front entrance of the building. We are using architectural shingles. Principal materials are painted precast, but we've also introduced some some natural materials. So we do have some brick masonry as kind of a water course to the building that you see here in that slide at near the main entrance. And again, that was done not only to bring some of those materials in, but also to kind of bring it down to a little bit more of a human scale at the entrance point into the project site. Go to the next slide. This is kind of an orientation of the overall site. You'll see the main building entrance identified right in this area, the service drive and staging area into fleet maintenance, as well as the entrance point to the wash bay. I will say the backyard space does include in our bid that you're going to hear today, the material storage bins, the salt structure, the material drying areas, as well as the perimeter site fencing with automated gate access control has been all included as part of this bid. And that was all part of the request that all of you had. Next slide.
That's it.
A little bit closer view of the wash bay entranceway where the truck is shown, and then the two mechanic service bays. I will point out that we are going to use some of the excess soils as a berm that somewhat separates the Public Works facility from the balance of the future development over to the east. Not only for a visual, but also for any vehicles that might be staging in that area, so they're out of view. Next slide. This is kind of a view looking towards the west. Again, the material storage, salt structure, material dry pads with a large enclosed backyard area. I would be remiss if I did not point out the building is also designed for future expansion, although we are building right now with 20 years of excess capacity in this design. We do have room, and we strategically placed the building to allow that, should the need arise in the future, to be able to be easily expanded without having to modify any of the current investment that you'll be making in the other areas of the building. Next slide. It's kind of another view with the future development, and this is kind of that area where we talked about where there'll be a future berm that will then somewhat create a separation between the two project sites. One thing that we did change a little bit, and this was at the suggestion of the Public Works team and administrative team, we did add a secondary access to get back out of the site so we could provide nice flow and circulation, and that berm that's in between then truly separates all Public Works traffic from any future development whatsoever as it is going out to the roadway to the north. So that was really the only primary change that we've made to the site planning plan. Next slide. And then I'll let Tom go into the bids that we received for the project and how they turned out.
Thanks, Chris. Yeah, so over the last couple months, we sent it out to bid. We had a great turnout, a great response from all the different contractors. I think we had 140 some bids that came in over. We split it up between like 22, 23 trade packages. So a great turnout, all great contractors that we've worked with, all the low contractors, our contractors we've worked with in the past. So we're really happy to start moving forward with some of them. But a quick summary, and I know you have more detail in your packet, but the trade contractor cost, the FF&E, those are all the bids that we collected that totaled that 11.2 million. The design build services, those are our general conditions, Lamp Incorporated services. We are carrying a contingency, it's around 5% or so, that $450,000, just construction contingency if things come up, if we want to change anything, if unforeseen conditions in the soil, things like that we might run into. The architectural services for Kluber's services, and then another line item for owner reimbursable costs covering utilities, ComEd fees, NICOR, whatever it might be. Just those are just kind of placeholder allowances. So we know there'll be something, but we usually don't know what they are until they tell you, sort of thing. So, so all in, we're just over that $14 million ballpark range. So that's, I think, what we were shooting for, and we came in pretty darn close for what we, like I said, set out to do, and it was all for the contractors. Like I said, being very competitive. They were very interested in this job, and the turnout showed that. So,
Tom, can I just comment? Yeah. This is a good opportunity. When he mentions 22 trade packages, these are bid packages and groups by type of work that they're going to do. Instead of us having, let's say, Kluber design an entire spec, which happened about 15 years ago, got book back in my office, and then send that out and have have 3 or 4 companies bid everything, right down to the details.
Mhm.
This allowed us to get started much faster, deliver the building probably a year sooner. And also then, but they did do public bidding in every case. In fact, they talked about having the bid openings here, but that's not necessarily in the contract, so the bid openings were in their office, but they were sealed bids just like we would have here. And I just want you all to know that there were 22 different batches of competitive bids.
Thanks.
In our packet, do we have a list of contractors that were awarded?
No, we don't have the subs, but we can certainly provide that.
Any other questions on the cost and where things come in?
What was the original approved amount for the design build? Was it the 1.2?
When you say approved, I'm not sure.
We had to do a motion to engage with Lamp and Kluver to go through the
Oh,
design build.
actually,
And we approved a dollar amount.
If you don't mind, it's in your packet on the agenda supplement, which is on page 18. I believe the very first page of that has a summary of the payments to date so far.
Yeah, that was like 677,000. That's why I'm wondering, because up there it's 1.2 million for design build, and which is double.
I'm sorry, the 1.2 million this is not progressive payments. These are the overall cost.
That,
What you see in the packet is progressive payments.
right, for a total amount of 677,000.
Correct.
My question was,
Those are almost all design fees because the building's almost completely designed.
I think there's more than 3 phases.
that part I understand, but when we had to make a motion to hire
Right.
Lamp.
Right.
There was no number in that motion. That motion included the first payment. That's I think it was $95,000 in that first contract.
Okay, so we didn't have a set of what those fees were going to be.
No, because at that point, as you looked at, sorry, we aren't to that point in the agenda yet, but in the agenda supplement, you will see that it, sorry, I lost my train of thought there. What was your question again?
If we had already approved this level of fee for design build.
Yeah, no,
service.
so one of the things in the agenda supplement is they have to give us a guaranteed maximum price by April 1st. So we didn't even have a price until just a few weeks ago when they started doing the bidding. That's when they could finally fill in the blanks and get that number, the guaranteed maximum price and the delivery date.
Okay.
So when we started this project, there was really no guesstimate even what was, because we didn't even have a space plan. We didn't have a size yet.
So the 14 million, that includes all the design fees and everything we've done to date
Yeah.
Yes.
is all worked into that. So that's okay.
And the contingencies and there's really,
Okay.
can't think of anything that might be.
And we've also worked to try to pick up all the FF&E items, whatever, so
The what?
the FF&E furniture, fixtures, furniture, equipment, vehicle service equipment, all that, like everything, computer
Furniture's
equipment,
there.
we have allowances, for, everything you need to run the building is basically was our intent of giving you this all-in number.
Yeah, we were very fortunate to work with the public works staff and we were able to identify all the vehicle fleet service equipment, all the lifts and all the heavy duty industrial shelving for the project. Sometimes some of those things come later, but they were gracious enough to work with us. So we were able to include that in the bid package to have that be competitively bid as well. So all of the racking for the building that we're going to need, the vehicle lifts and all of the fleet service, I'll call it like lubrication type systems that are automated, are all built into the project at this point, as was requested.
Chris, could you just mention briefly the 2 service bays and how they're different, the lifts are different and why?
Sure. In one of the service bays, we have a heavy vehicle lift. It's an in-ground lift. It's a 2-post lift. It's a 75,000 pound capacity. It will easily lift and still have some headroom to lift a Vector truck, which is generally loaded, one of the more heavy vehicles that will be serviced. It can also lift a partially filled salt truck if in fact the hydraulics are out and they can't dump it. We recommend that they use a loader to pull out some salt before they pull it on if they need to. But it can lift that vehicle as well. So it was sized in accordance with that. So we have one bay that can service heavy equipment. But the nice part about that lift, even though it is for a larger vehicle, it is articulating in the floor. So it can also lift a small vehicle as well. So it kind of serves a dual role and a dual purpose. The second bay is a general service bay with the more traditional two-post lifts that you see are above the floor slab. That equipment's rated to 20,000 pounds, and that'll take care of 2/3 of Dave's fleet on those lifts. And so we've integrated both of those options into the project. Well, and one of the reasons why is because the in-ground lifts are very expensive, and we knew we couldn't do two, so we did one with the option of a 20,000 pound post lift. And that's generally what we've been doing for most of our public works facilities. And so from a price standpoint, that made the most sense for the way you're going to operate.
Any other questions so far?
Two. One, you don't have to go to the slide. When you showed the design, on the left side, we had the offices, administrative offices, and then there was a locker room. You talked about washer, dryer, like for clothes and stuff. Is there, I'm assuming there is, but I didn't see it in the design. Where is like their break room, kitchen?
Yeah, it was in the front area. If we could go back to the floor plan, just to point out, right there. So where we're calling the employee support, it's L-shaped. There's a kitchen built in, and then it's a training lunchroom. And then there's some public toilets off the main hallway, kind of in that whole area.
Okay.
And then there's a small little patio outside for the team if they want to eat outside at lunchtime as well.
Okay.
So yeah, all of that was originally incorporated, and we didn't change the plan of lick since we met with all of you in schematic design. We just continued to develop it. I do want to point out, we also recently bid a different project for the city of Yorkville, bigger than yours. But I will tell you, those bids were turned in about a week apart. And on a cost per square foot basis, they're almost exactly the same. So you guys are getting a really good value.
We're more fun to work with than Purcell.
So my other question, if we can go back to the cost structure. The contingency and reimbursable costs, those are in there just in case they're needed, correct? So that's 550,000 that is being put aside just in case, right?
Yes, well, yes.
Okay.
I mean, the older reimbursables utilities, you will have costs
Cost,
associated with.
but you're
common-
allocating up to 100K. It may be 40K, maybe 50,
Exactly,
up to 100.
right.
So 550 is a variable number. And then in the bid itself, you also have 250,000 for soil remediation allowance.
Yes.
Is that also may not be spent, have to be spent if the soil doesn't need remediation because it's not a gas station location or anything
Right.
like that?
Let me address.
Yes.
We will be doing remediation of some level on your site. That figure was given to us by the soils engineer that did the final soil borings on site. We do have some unusual things to deal with. You will be spending some of that money. We believe there's more than enough to cover that, which is why we capped it at 250,000. You will be spending some money on that site.
Isn't that just
Can you be
farmland?
more specific, Chris?
Yeah. There are some pockets of peat that are not
Not
stable enough
contaminated.
to.
It's just.
Not contamination, but
Structure, but
it's unusual materials that are typical for.
Because we're talking about truck stops.
Yeah, sorry. It's more for, structure,
Yeah.
structure.
No hazardous materials.
Bearing
We're talking about bearing capacities of natural soils. They're typically found on a farmland where it might be a little bit more peat than it is clay and so on. So when we got those reports, we knew and we identified the areas that what's called an undercut, where you dig a little bit deeper to get the better capacities. Then you fill that with rock to get us up to the bearing pressures that we need. We have already done all that analysis and included that analysis as part of the initial bid document. So those numbers there are to carry that. We do know that you will be spending some of that money.
Okay.
The soil borings were done just before Coon Creek last year.
How deep is the undercuts anticipated?
I forget the corner of the building that it was the worst at, but you're probably about 2.5 to 3.5 feet.
Oh, it's nothing.
It's not bad.
Then you just fill a PG.
Depends on the condition we're gonna have, but it's probably gonna be 3-inch rock and then just depending on what they see when they get down to that point. But obviously that's what the soils engineer will tell us as we're digging. but pretty common, for a project like this. The good news is we're not looking for super high varying, capacities here for this facility. I believe it was all 3,000 PSF. So we should be in pretty good shape regardless, but otherwise the site checked out pretty good at all the other locations.
Okay.
Can I ask, because we've got a final cost up there of 11,236,706. And that's for the cement, the, metals, everything else, aluminum. Is, if there should be steep rises in that or steep declines in that, is the cost stays the same?
No, those should be locked in because the contractors bid per the documents.
Okay,
There are a little bit of contingencies if, something else comes up sort of thing, but only if we come across something unforeseen, would
okay,
that number change, at all? But no, they're locked in per the bid documents. If
okay,
it's on the bid documents, they're supposed to do it.
okay.
Price changes or a cost structure isn't unforeseen. It's if something else needs to be done to the building,
Yes,
additional building.
sure. Yep.
But if material costs go up
Oh, yeah, no, that's
25%, that's on the contractor. who bid it.
exactly. Yep.
Okay.
Is your presentation over? Do you have more to present?
I had the schedule on there. It's,
Yep.
I think it's, again, there's a larger, one in your, packet.
Yeah.
Essentially, we want to start here in the next few weeks if we can. Everything's, still permit pending. And then we just want to be finished up, early in January, I think was our,
14th.
so that's our target date. All, again, pending on the, issuance of the permit, so.
Thanks, guys.
Thank
Yep,
you so
thank
much. Thank you. We're looking forward to it.
Yep, we are too.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Well, we're still here if I can ask, because we've got the big Coon Creek Festival that gets put there. I mean, how is that going to be with construction?
Lionel and,
In the meeting, that's
Oh,
Carl
okay,
and I met last week and we went through it and they're not concerned at all about.
okay,
We're far enough west that we won't be where Coon Creek happens.
okay. Thank you.
Thank you for coming. You don't need to stay. You can if you want.
Thank you very much.
I'll see you later.
Thank you. With that, Mr. Mayor, we have a motion to deny police pension municipal compliance report.
Is it-
Yes.
Can
you tell us, you said the target date was, what was the target?
January 14th.
Was it 2026 completion?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. I thought that's.
Will you be able to provide us a list of contractors that?
Sure.
Okay,
Mr. Mayor, with that, we have a motion to deny police pension municipal compliance report. It's on page 8 of your packet.
there's a reason why we're denying it. They haven't met yet. Is that why?
Are we denying it because they haven't met and they can't, I'm sorry, go ahead, Lori.
So they had a meeting rescheduled that had to be canceled. There, as I mentioned before, there's a big decision in order that's going to be, voted on. And only 3 of the current 5, board members were involved in that decision. So those 3, we feel, need to be present to vote accordingly. And, so we are now out to April 4th, which is a Friday. So we just keep going, until I can get all 3 of those members present. We're gonna have to delay the meeting. And therefore, we just want to remove it from the table and bring it back as soon as it's signed.
I just, this is more for Mr. Pacelli.
Yes.
We tabled this once. I don't understand why we're denying it to bring it back. I thought we just tabled it and then hang on to it until it's ready. Is that not?
Could I just explain what we're
Yeah,
trying to
of course.
accomplish and then Jim could tell us how to do it? It's been on the agenda several times, so it just gets skipped every week. It was suggested that we take it off the agenda because we don't know when this report's going to actually be available.
Okay.
So when we asked our legal counsel how to take it off the agenda, this is how they told us to take it off. So this is removing it from the agenda. An affirmative vote would remove it from the agenda, and then we'll bring it back another time.
That was my question. So voting yes for this.
It's the denial.
Deny.
Voting yes for the
Voting
deny.
no is approving it.
So this is just a school, lesson in Robert's rules for all of us that are confused.
Yeah.
I'm still confused because our motion is on whether we accept or deny.
No, it is to
Make a
deny.
motion to
No, I
deny.
understand it's to deny, but our vote is whether we agree to deny the report,
Yes.
or
So if you
if we
vote,
vote negative, then we're accepting the report.
yes,
But it's on the report. So if we deny this and it takes it off the agenda, and then it comes right back, the exact same report, we've already denied the report. If there's no material changes, can we vote again to accept
Yes.
something we just denied?
Yes, we'll do the change in the 11th rule. The 11th edition of Robert's Rules of Order allows for what's called a renewal. I forget the actual phraseology of it, but it's called a renewal. You can bring it back and you can change your vote. You are not bound by the original vote at that point in time.
Is there another way to remove this from the agenda?
Yeah, there's a different way to do it. You could move to strike it. You could move to table it indefinitely.
That's what we're.
Good.
Then we'll
Frankly,
table it
that's what we
indefinitely.
would like to.
what would make the most sense?
That would make the most sense.
Let's table it indefinitely. I think the
like
board
that.
would have
I'm
more.
gonna make a motion to
No,
table the denial and the police pension. I'm gonna make a motion to. We will entertain a motion to table the denial of the police pension report indefinitely.
So moved.
Questions, comments?
Yes, I have a question.
No questions or comments, motion to table, not debatable. So we have a motion on the floor, we need to go to a roll. I can explain the motion if you.
We're good.
Roll call.
I did have a question then, yeah, because we jumped into that real quick. I had one. Is that I thought we had to have this in order to do our budgets. Like this had to be here to us by,
So.
This was just the police pension.
So as I explained, when it was brought forward the last time, we do not levy for the purpose of a police pension fund. That would require a referendum, of the residents.
It has no bearing on our budget.
It does
Other
have a
than the-
bearing on the budget in that we contribute based on the report. And the budget has been proposed with a number, as we discussed at the budget committee meeting, within the report. So, it's not signed. So I mean, if you want to, even if you wanted to approve an unsigned report, I think that's it's a little weird also. But, yeah, so the report was received in December and they had to cancel, or it was received after their meeting in
Laura, the simple
December.
answer is no, it's not required.
It's not required just because we don't levy.
There's no legal requirement for it. We could
Okay.
pass it without it because we could put a number in there.
So we,
since when he tried to get it to us at the end of the year. I mean, this is December 23rd in time for the end of the year.
so with that, trustee Kelly, you had a question. We're already entertaining questions. So what's your question?
I'm good.
We could,
Following advice of council.
council, if you have a question about the form of the motion or what the motion means, there's always time to, you can always ask
It's
us.
not about the motion. We're good.
Okay, Ms. Clerk, can you call roll, please?
Mr. Kelly,
Aye.
Mr. Cole,
Aye.
Mr. Matt,
Aye.
Ms. Palastrellini,
Aye.
Mr. Robinson,
Aye.
Ms. Fodor,
Aye.
motion passes 6-0.
Before we move on to the next item, may I ask a question?
Absolutely.
Thank you. It wasn't about the vote.
Understood.
Statutorily, when does this need to be completed and signed by?
So if we were levying for that purpose, it would have to be approved prior to the last Tuesday in December, so that the levy could be in place for that.
Right.
But because we don't have a levy, it's literally a check mark box that it's a report of the condition of the pension fund, and it can be received really at any time.
Okay, so there's no state law or state rule or regulation saying that a pension audit has to be, or the pension report has to be done by a certain date.
Only if there were a levy in place for that purpose.
Not applicable to us.
Okay.
Is that what you're looking for? Yeah.
I just want to make sure, I
Yeah.
know we're delaying these meetings and I want to make sure that doesn't make it to where we're out of compliance with the state to get this approved. That's why I was asking.
The vote, how about this, trustee?
That's why I said, with that tabling vote, it's more about the report itself.
We are not out of legal compliance with the table vote. Does that help? Yeah, is that?
No,
Yeah.
the tabling vote is fine. It's more about the
Yeah.
process of we keep having to reschedule that meeting.
Got it, understood.
Okay, so the next one is we spoke, just so I'm not trying to usurp you, but Mr. Hedges. The contract was omitted from the agenda packet in error. And so it was sent out today. It has been reviewed by staff. It has been reviewed by legal. I'm up to the will of the board here. We can table this agreement if the board wants to read through every piece of the contract. And we can bring it back in 2 weeks. Or if the board feels comfortable that staff reviewed it appropriately, we could vote on it. Well, so it's up to the board as to what we want to do.
Why would we table something that's been approved at past meetings? It's already went out for bid. All the contractors have been awarded. Why would we postpone it?
I'm of the same thought process because I tend to trust staff. You know,
And the lawyer.
legal counsel. And how many of your lawyers looked this over? You did? I know Eric did.
Myself and Eric primarily.
So I'm comfortable, but it's, again, I'm leaving this up to the board.
I'm good.
Can you
I'm
just
good.
explain to me then because there's a lot of contracts going into this. So this particular consensus docs is for what?
That's the final. It is the final contract. There will be payments made later, but this is the final contract for the entire project. For the public works project. Is that
Right down to the
question?
bushes and the grass.
And so it's inclusive of the 3 prior contracts. And this is the final contract, which is progress payments after this point.
And you spent hours, how many hours working on this with, between Lamb and Kluger and?
Well, we spent a good solid hour on the phone just with Eric from Jimmy's office and Lamp together and several hours reading. It's not really about the hours, Mike, but it's been thoroughly.
No, what I'm just trying to get the basis if you're comfortable with the language in the contract because it's been part of, you've been intimately involved in it. That's what
I pay this compliment to both you and Jimmy. Eric did an amazing job going through it with us. He followed through. We had a time limit because it was late in the day and he just cranked it right through and really did a great job. You've all met Eric. He's met the last 2 board.
So I'm up to it's up to the will of the board what motion wants to be made, whether we table it or we move forward, but we do, yeah.
I have a question.
Yeah.
And I trust staff and legal on the contract itself, like, you're gonna know legal language.
Sure.
Mine is for Miss Lyons. We're approving this contract. We're saying that we're approving building a $14 million building. We haven't talked about how we're funding that yet, or what the cost to the village is, or how we're gonna pay for the 14 million. I know we talked about grants. And we passed the tax to be able to pay for a bond, but we have no idea what that is yet. How do we pass the contract without the funding for the contract?
We have the source of revenue. We just haven't issued the bonds yet. So we do have the source of revenue, which is the sales tax. That's going to generate around $1 million a year, which will cover the debt service. So
What is the plan to have the debt service
Pardon me?
approved? When do you think that
we'll be meeting with bond counsel soon to determine that.
Okay, because when you look at the payment schedule, this is the only reason why I bring it up. When you look at the payment schedule, it is a monthly payment schedule. And so if work is kicking off in April, we're gonna start having monthly payments happening. And I know we've got income coming in to cover some of these payments.
We can negotiate.
But it is a faster project schedule than we would have that offset income should something happen with the bond. So that's why I'm asking that question. I'm not doubting the contract.
That's a big question.
So staff is 100% comfortable with approving now without the financing yet.
Well, I mean, financing is financing, so I can't say anything's 100%, but yes, we're comfortable moving forward as we are right now.
So, go ahead.
Oh, can I make
Yeah.
make a motion?
Yeah.
Or do you need to entertain one?
No, I always just say it to say I'm entertaining it, but anybody can make a motion at any time.
Then I will make a motion to approve this contract for public works garage.
Second.
Questions or comments? It's just,
Has this has not come before us at all?
No.
Okay. I mean, just because I'm an attorney, I can't approve a contract I haven't read.
I understand that, but that's
So
why we have
I
qualified
will
staff.
be, yeah, that's fine, but I will abstain. on
That's
it,
fine.
So,
You're welcome to do so.
And the contract was available this morning, wasn't it?
I distributed it sometime around
It was close to,
No.
it was close to 1 o'clock this
And
afternoon.
it was, yeah.
That's why I said in the email, I would not ask you to vote tonight.
And I'm being, and like I said, this is up to the will of the board. So we have a first and a second. And the board, and we have to do any other questions? So I will ask the clerk to call the roll and your vote is your vote.
Mr. Poe,
Aye.
Mr. Matt,
Aye.
Ms. Palastrellini,
Abstain.
Mr. Robinson,
Aye.
Ms. Fodor,
Hi.
and Mr. Kelly.
All right.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. With that, we have a resolution.
My favorite topic.
I want to make sure we're on the right topic now. A resolution to increase the number of chicken licenses from 15 to 20. This is on page 31 of your packet. We have a brief agenda supplement from Mr. Khan.
So
Thanks.
I would like to.
Dave has his application filled out.
I would like to say, this is fairly boilerplate. We've had a lot of interest. So much so that I don't even think 25 is the right number. And,
Can I ask you a question?
absolutely.
Why do we have a limit?
Okay, so that's where I was going with this. So thank you.
Really?
Is there-
Perfect, yeah.
No,
So-
seriously, do we need a limit?
No, so, well, here's why. Originally, we did this as a pilot program. Originally, we did this as a pilot program because we wanted to see what the impact that it had within the neighborhoods. So that we would see what the impact was in the neighborhood and see what kind of enforcement challenges that it was that we had. The current level of interest is we would have all 25 spoken for at the current time, and then there were people asking for more. Right. I've asked staff through this process to work with us, and then we've had regular meetings with the current license holders. And I asked staff, these are the most important questions that I've asked. Have we had any complaints or have they caused any issues in town, which they have not? Do we have any enforcement issues now at all? We have not. And if we were to remove the maximum number of licenses, would it propose an issue for enforcement or any of those other challenges in the future? And the answer that I've gotten from both Mo Khan and Jay Hedges is at this time, it's like building a shed. It's really not been an issue.
We don't have a limit on how many sheds you can build. Inspecting, it's not that much different.
And so from that perspective, we have the staff, we have Safe Built, we have, the police department, that can go after farm animals if we have to, right? I'm kidding. I just wanted to see us do that. And so what I'm saying is that.
In your.
We had chickens in our.
I know you did.
I have something.
In the whole-
In the lockup. In the lockup.
So my point is, I will go on to again saying I don't agree with chickens in your backyard in a residential neighborhood. But at this time, the staff could support it. It's something the community wants. And it's not causing a problem. And so I don't want this keep coming back. It's kind of like, what do we call it? The zoning process we have it all the time where if you get enough of them, I just went through the planning and zoning, a variance. It's like a variance request. This keeps coming in front of us for something that's not causing an issue. I don't see why we need to keep limiting it if staff can support
We
it.
piloted it for, well, I guess we're out of the pilot.
3 years.
It's been the 3 years now.
Yeah.
Everything turning fine. I think it's time to remove the training
Yep.
wheels and just.
Well, correct me if I'm wrong, but even at the 15, those were gone,
Correct.
meaning they were out. But it's not like 15 people actually built
No.
the chicken coops.
You have the clerk has all of the information.
So everybody that has, like last year, everybody that has applied for a license or had a license. I have had some people move, I've had some people for various reasons
Right.
that have contacted me and have given up their license. And then I have also had people that did not follow through with building their coop, what have you. So obviously then their license for this year was not renewed. With all of that being said, I will, right now with my waiting list of all new people and old people that are compliant, I will have 24 out of the 25 license filled.
Yeah. And thank you for that. I guess my point is even if,
Question.
Can you restate that? I apologize.
how many permits and inspections were done on chicken coops? Out of the 15 licenses.
11 or 12.
Okay, so I guess my point is even if we do change it as the photo was talking about and don't have it, right, rather than temping at 25. That's not saying that tomorrow there's gonna be 150 cooking groups in people's backyard. This stops us from having this conversation every year.
Yeah. I feel like this and the light hearings have defined our first term here, so I prefer not to talk about chickens ever again.
But I'm putting it out there that it sounds like it's not all of a sudden we're gonna have a line 2 hour wait out the door on people building.
But I agree with the voices that I've heard so far that maybe it is time for the spring. That was the whole point, right, of having the limit was to test our limits as a village to see what we could safely.
Our limits have been tested.
So I've said. I was.
Sooner or later, we're gonna have a bad one.
I know.
I hope that
Yeah.
everybody's
Well-
prepared.
But there could be a bad one in those 15 now or
It's gonna be a
25.
bad one at 310 White Oak.
And we have, but to be fair to that comment, trustee Coe, we've had bad sheds, we've had bad decks, we've had bad pools, bad fences. And that, my point is that we have the appropriate number of staff that can deal with this. We have the appropriate amount of resources with safe build and all that stuff. I don't disagree with you. We're gonna have a bad one. It's just gonna happen. That's just the nature of this, right? You're not gonna see one at 500 Cox Run. It's not gonna happen. It's just, that's not gonna happen. But
Your birthday's coming.
I'm not, no. I'm not gonna stand stand for it. So,
We're on D, resolution increases.
so my thought process is that we would just remove the number, period, and move on.
I disagree.
Me too.
I'm fine with 25 to start, and then a couple of years, maybe 30. And then if the train wheels completely fall off, then remove it.
Understood. Well, again, it's up to the will of the board. You can make a motion either way, anytime. I'll entertain a motion with any changes. It's up to this board. I got no skin in this fight.
There wasn't a motion, you know.
No, I'm saying, wait, no, I'm waiting for a
I
moment.
will make a motion to increase the number of chicken licenses from 15 to unlimited.
So you remove the
Remove the
limitation,
number.
remove the number, period. So we have a motion on the table.
Second.
We have a second. Any other questions or comments on the subject? Ms. Clerk, can you call roll, please?
Mr. Matt,
Aye.
Ms. Palastrellini,
No.
Mr. Robinson,
Aye.
Ms. Fodor,
Aye.
Mr. Kelly,
Aye.
and Mr. Coe.
No.
Motion passes 4-2.
All right, thank you very much, everyone.
Thank you.
Keep up the great work, staff.
All right. With that, we ask your consideration of a resolution approving the purchase of a cross layer with quick and easy road shouldering green screed. A lot of words here, not spelled normal. In the amount of
this agenda, man.
$27,218.52. This is on page 36 of your packet, Ms. Lyons.
So Dave's here to talk about his new, potential, equipment, but this is, a piece of equipment that's mounted on the back of a dump truck that, you travel in the opposite direction of traffic, actually, in the reverse manner. But it dumps the rock and then screeds it, if you will, like so, levels it. And, it'll make his shouldering work a lot easier than the current methods.
He does have pretty big shoulders. How bad do you want this piece of equipment, Mr. Chair?
It's not only just for shouldering, we use, it's got a high temp. We also use it for all of our asphalt patches.
Oh, wait a minute, is this hot box?
Is this the hot box?
No, this
No.
is just, conveyor on the back of the truck that you dump. You know.
I got all
product
excited.
into
It
it.
won't last long on asphalt, believe me. Oh, yeah.
Ms. Lyons, this comes out of this year's budget, not next year's, correct?
Yeah, so, we kind of talked about how things got switched around at the budget committee meeting, but, so it is in this budget. With adjustments, right? So we aren't able to get the, ditch mower, and so we've got it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Just making sure that what we approve in now is in this budget, not
Yep.
the next year. Okay.
I'll entertain a motion at any time approving the resolution.
So moved.
Second.
Oh.
We voted no on the last few
I don't
things.
think that we're gonna have any questions, seeing that they were fighting over the motions, but any questions or comments?
What happens with the ditch mower in the?
So it doesn't, you weren't at the budget committee meeting. This was one of the things that we talked about that is actually getting done in, in our capital budget this year. So, unfortunately, the ditch mower that was desired
Yes.
does not work with the tractor that we have. So we're
Yes.
not,
I understood that. I read that in the thing. My question was about the budgeting, like, is it going into fiscal year 26 then? Or
No.
are we just gonna,
the ditch mower is out for the
okay,
time.
it's
being.
off the list.
Off the list,
Got it.
yep, because
That-
it's
that
just
was
not
my
going to work. And then, yep, we're taking the money that was allocated to the ditch mower and
Got that.
combining it. and
Yep.
we're good.
Got
Yep.
that part. I just didn't
Yep.
know if it was still on the wish list or if it was a darn.
I mean, it's probably on the wish list, but right now with the equipment that we have, it's not gonna work.
Okay, that's all I wanted to know. Appreciate
Do we have any other questions over here? How about over here?
it.
I'm trying to keep up with all the conversations. It's really difficult.
Yeah.
Ms. Clark, could you call a roll, please, when you get a minute?
That was. Mrs. Palastrellini,
Yes.
Mr. Robinson,
Aye.
Mrs. Broder,
Hi.
What are we eyeing for? Let's put in one and figure out what we're eyeing for.
You
seconded
the crossfire.
Crossfire.
Mr. Kelly,
Aye.
Mr. Coe,
Aye.
Mr. Matt,
Aye.
motion passes.
I don't know.
Thank you. Items F and G are bracketed, please. The first item is we'd ask your consideration of a resolution approving a professional services agreement with EEI Inc. Area services for North State Street resurfacing project. The amount of $37,903. It's on page 41 of your packet. Mr. Paulson's online if you have any questions. The next item is the joint funding agreement with the Illinois Department of Transportation for North State Street resurfacing project on page 42 of your packet.
Good evening, Mr. Paulson.
Hello.
Hello.
Talks in his mouth, doesn't move. Not like some ventriloquist thing.
Is this?
Sorry,
possible?
my
Just put it out for bid.
video is a little glitchy tonight.
Pardon me?
That's part of IDOT's work.
So what is the
Phase 3 engineering is for actually monitoring the construction when it goes on.
so you're gonna take density on the asphalt and all that? Really?
Yes, we have a sub-consultant that has the, the nuclear density, the equipment that's out there. So, but that is part of what we'll be overseeing. Yes, we'll be out there the whole time on this project per the IDOT requirement.
Okay, thanks.
If I can ask then with with Rubino then, why do we have to have another contractor to do that? Or I should say an engineer to do that?
Yeah, there would be as a sub-consultant to us because they are, technical engineers that are qualified to do that. It isn't a service that we do in-house.
Okay,
It
And then
requires
this is a-
specialized equipment.
is that's for an extra then $5,588?
That's part of the total contract.
Okay, so that's the total contract for EEI, that's 37,903.
Correct, that 5,000
And
is
that
included in that
includes-
number. Yes.
Okay, thank you.
So EEI is hiring a company to go out and do all the density and cores and stuff. Correct?
Correct, they'll do the material testing.
So basically EEI is the middleman.
They're required by.
Well, we'll be
IDOT to
doing
do
all
this,
the
so we've
layout
been
and
doing all that.
construction supervision.
I'm trying to understand.
Okay,
I've done this my whole life.
I understand.
I'm trying to understand. If we're hiring, and we're gonna pay $38,000 to have them watch the paver go up and down, and then the company's gonna do the nuclear density and take the cores, and I'm assuming they're gonna go and test the cores at their shop. I just wanna know what their contract's for. That's all.
Okay.
Did you get what you needed?
Good enough.
No, I'm being serious.
So am I.
Okay.
I'll give my kudos. I like the fact that it's 100% female-owned company for that. So just wanted to put my 2 cents in on that.
Sure.
But I would
Any,
entertain the motion.
oh, yeah.
So
Hey.
I will entertain a motion then.
Well, can I ask a question before you do?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, the reason I apologize. The question I asked, does anybody have any questions about the actual joint funding agreement with IDOT?
Yeah, I do.
And then we can do it 1, 2. Because they're kind of tied together.
Yeah.
So does anybody have any questions about that?
Yeah, I'm having some reactions based on our historical relationships with IDOT construction projects and how quick they are. Are we thinking, is this a different type of scenario where it's actually going to kick off and go pretty quickly and IDOT's going to get, like, we're going to be on a project? Or is this like, we're going to approve these now, but it's going to need to come out of next year or possibly the year after's fiscal budget because it takes 2 years to kick off the project?
It seems like they're in the right fiscal years, not whether they meet the exact timetable that's in the agenda supplement. There's a letting date and a construction date in your agenda supplement for both.
And that's from IDOT. That's not EEI's
EEI is
assumption.
projecting that based on IDOT's schedule.
But yeah, so with the letting date, once we're on the letting date, it goes quickly.
Okay.
IDOT puts it out to bid and then we do the contracting and the contractor can start. It's,
Oh, thank you. Totally get that. My next question, what are the dates of Coon Creek days?
August 9th to the 7th through the 9th.
So this kicks off right after Coon Creek then?
correct.
The
It's in
project
the, it's
start
in the
date is August
contract
11th.
documents. Sorry.
What's that?
I said it's in the contract documents that they can't begin until after Coon Creek's days.
That's all I was making sure, because I saw the start of the construction date was 8/11 and I wasn't sure where that put it.
Yeah, so we should be good then.
Okay, so EEI's as confident as you can be with IDOT that the construction will start on the 11th and then about a month and about 6 weeks later, it'll be done.
Correct. Yes.
Okay.
We did a project like this a few years ago with, on Briar Hill Road, and it went out without a hitch. Like, once the letting was done, as Tim described, it was very quick.
Same program.
Yep, it's very same program.
Great. Some of our history has been longer projects, so that's why I was curious.
I have just a couple things then. Just as a point, we've had Coon Creek days that we've rained out and it took them days or a week to get and the amusement equipment out of that lot. So if it's a Monday morning and we have beautiful weather, yeah, but I just would say it's always a possibility if there's heavy rain that they can't get the semis and pull the equipment out. So I just wanted to say that on the record. The other thing, just because I did go through this, and I guess it's page 79. Just wanted to comment that Omar Osmond is no longer the Secretary of Transportation. So if they're signing documents, we might want to update that one. And then page, I guess it's 8 of 10 from there, page 80, is that, just so that I'm clear, then the 104,357 is what the village's responsibility is, and the 417,430 is what IDOT, the state of Illinois pays it.
I think it's an 80-20 match.
Okay.
Yeah, the 400,000 number is the total. The 376 is IDOT and the 104 is us.
Okay. Federal funds then. Okay, that's right. Okay.
All right. Any other questions about the resolution on the joint funding agreement? With that, I will give it back to trustee Palestrini for the motion already started.
Did you want it just for F or for both of them?
No, we're going to have to do F and then we're going to have to do G, but I wanted to get all questions since they were tied together.
I move to approve the professional services agreement with Engineering Enterprises, Inc. for Phase 3 engineering services for the North State Street resurfacing project in the amount of $37,903.
Second.
Questions, comments? Okay, Ms. Clerk, can you call roll, please?
Mr. Robinson?
Aye.
Mrs. Fodor? Aye. Kelly?
Aye.
Mr. Cole?
Aye.
Mr. Matt?
Aye.
Mrs. Powell? Mrs. Palastrellini?
Aye.
Motion passes 6-0.
Okay, now for the resolution approving the joint funding agreement with IDOT, I will entertain a motion to approve that resolution?
So moved.
Questions, comments? Ms. Clerk, can you call roll, please?
Mrs. Fodor. Aye. Mr. Kelly.
Aye.
Mr. Cove.
Aye.
Mr. Pratt.
Aye.
Mrs. Palastrellini.
Aye.
And Mr. Robinson.
Aye.
Motion passes 6-0.
Thank you. Okay, now we're on to the zoning map, so I don't know if that's a Mr. Hedges thing or a Mr. Khan thing. Mr. Khan, take the ball and run with it.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. So by state statute, by March 31st of every year, the village has to adopt a zoning map. That is, EI has updated it. In the agenda supplement, there was 5 items. The annexation of the Tina O'Hara land on Beach Timber, the rezoning of the Tina O'Hara land, the rezoning of Washington Avenue, the annexation of the Ziegler land on US Route 20, and the rezoning of the Ziegler land. So those were the 5 changes made to the zoning map. EI has updated the zoning map for 2025, and that is in your packet for your review and approval.
Fairly straightforward. Any questions?
And it's just one, and it's not that the map is incorrect, but just for the future, as we look at this, since we know what the uses are for all of the Crown construction areas, should they remain PRD or should we be rezoning that as residential?
The zoning is planned residential district. That's the zoning category for the Crown land.
So then,
And so when does it switch over to R2 or?
It does not. So when I don't know the whole history, but when the Crown came in, they made a text amendment to create a new zoning designation or a new zoning district called planned residential district. So that's his own zoning use or zoning district for the Prairie Ridge neighborhood
It's also the Oakstead.
in Oakstead. I apologize.
So can you explain then, when all the homes are built in those areas and it's still planned residential development, what effect does that have on not being just R1 or R2?
They're essentially a residential zoning district. It's just a different terminology.
Doesn't allow them to have multiple types of housing within one. That's a purpose for it.
Yes, it allows for the duplexes, townhomes, single family, based on the developer agreement with the village.
Okay, I think I'm kind of along your lines then. If it's built, how can it be planned then?
It was planned for that purpose.
It's cosmetic. I mean, they call it the plan. It's oftentimes plan unit developments come in that way and they call it the residential district. The comprehensive residential district is cosmetic. It's a name that it wasn't approved. And
So it still falls under R1 guidelines or R2?
I would think of it as an R1 or R2 plus, because there's a little bit more flexibility on that.
Okay.
But we would not be changing it, and that's what the agreement is that we have signed.
The one that's really confusing is the Lakewood one.
Yes.
Because that we do get questions about that, or at least I used to before you were here a lot. Because it's a business plan development, but it's a mixed use thing. So oftentimes, attorneys will call and say, well, it's a residential home. And we're like, yes, if you look at our zoning ordinances, it allows for residential and office space, et cetera. So
Okay.
that one's a little more confusing.
And my last question, thank you for all of that, by the way. My last question is, outside of the village boundaries, we have zoning listed here, and it's the Hampshire South Forest Preserve colored in. How do we have zoning outside of our village boundaries?
I don't believe that's zoning. I think that was just to show the land use.
It's colored in and it's under the zoning legend of Forest Preserve.
But it's not blacked.
Under the first article, if I may.
Yeah.
Under the first article of the section on governing zoning, in the Illinois Municipal Code, all municipalities have the right to zone, provided it's within a comprehensive planning area, 1.5 miles extraterritorial. So you can go up over your boundaries to have extraterritorial zone.
Tim, is there a reason that you guys put the forest preserve in there?
Hold on. Before we engage Tim, if you look, the Hampshire Forest Preserve is in the same category that's been on our zoning map forever. So.
It's been on the map.
Yeah, so the one.
This area was actually acquired by the forest preserve. That's why it increased.
That's why it looks different, because they increased their property over there off by that subdivision.
He's talking about.
But I'm talking about the one by Oakstead and.
Oh, gotcha.
That one's been there forever, so I don't think we need to engage Tim. I'm just saying that
Am I wrong that the one on the lower
It's
left
been there
one?
too.
It's been there, but it hasn't been as large. It's larger now because they bought more property in the last year.
Okay, So theoretically, from what you were saying, all of the area within a mile and a half of our village boundaries, we could start considering zoning if it's a part of our plan, our long plan.
Our
The
biggest.
comprehensive plan, sorry.
100%. No, it's a great question, Chris. Kelly, sorry. And our biggest hindrance to that, or if that was a goal, would be the joint boundary agreements, the JBLAs.
The only reason why I'm asking is we just went through like the solar farms.
Sure.
And some of that property we just discussed would be within that 1.5 mile
So,
of village boundary. That's why I'm asking some of these questions, or could we avoid some of those type of conflicts of interest, or developers not knowing what the intended use for a comprehensive plan is if we were to look at that? I know it's not on this map, but just for the future.
right. Well, if I'm gonna, I want to get the map, but digress a little bit. Hopefully the state legislature takes the initiative to, work on the solar farm issue. I'll just put that pin there.
Yeah. I'm just using that as an example.
No, and there have been, it's an excellent question because it is ripe for discussion. And there has been annexation land grants. There have been different municipalities that have been annexing territory for the sole purpose of being able to maybe not stop a solar farm, but be able to put different type of guidelines and restrictions on the solar farm, such as deeper setbacks, for example. I may have been a part of such a thing. And so it is an issue. And you can extraterritorially zone if an application's in with one body, and then we zone it after the fact, that there may be some jurisdictional issues there.
Yeah, and maybe the solar one was a bad example.
Yeah.
It's just, we've talked at the BDC, we've talked when we were talking about comprehensive plans, that the way development, not on purpose, but how it has started to go, is really starting to create those islands of communities around Hampshire. Right, and we talked about bike paths and how do you connect these islands, which leaves not with other municipalities, but unincorporated areas that sit in the middle of these islands where we don't have the zoning either. And so that's why I wasn't quite sure. Solar farm, probably a bad example. I should have done this other one, but I'm looking at that saying, if and when we do update the comprehensive plan, should it be part of the board's discussion of, okay, now that we have a comprehensive plan, we need to zone these.
You're welcome.
Any other questions on the zoning map? Thanks for your time and effort. I'll entertain a motion approving the 2025 zoning map.
Second.
First and second, questions, comments? Ms. Clerk, can you call that roll?
Mr. Kelly.
Aye.
Mr. Coe.
Aye.
Mr. Met.
Aye.
Mrs. Palastrellini.
Aye.
Mr. Robinson.
Aye.
Mrs. Fodor.
Aye.
Motion passes 6-0.
Thank you. With that, Mr. Mayor, we would ask for consideration of an ordinance amending Chapter 3 of the Hampshire Municipal Code regarding liquor regulations. It's on page 92 of your packets. You have an agenda supplement from Mr. Khan. This ordinance does two things. It eliminates the limit of 2 special events per year for a liquor license, and makes it unlimited, that it can have special events. And then it also gives the liquor commissioner the authority to suspend a liquor license for non-payment or violations of other things other than liquor.
So-
Questions?
Can I?
Yeah.
Go ahead, ask yours.
No, I don't have a question.
My question is in regard to your first point about the maximum number 2 being removed, so then it is a unlimited number, I guess, well, 365, then I guess. Can a permit be denied? Let's say my neighbor wants to have a special event every other night.
Well, you.
This would apply to liquor license. Consistent liquor license.
Okay. So
let's say.
Can I explain what this all came up of and what the process is now?
Yes.
So right now, if you are a bar in town and have a liquor license, you can have a special event, right?
Yeah.
And you can have 2 per year, and which means that you can apply as a license holder to have a special event. What's a special event? You can have like a big bash or something like that, or you can participate. Where this came from was the fact that we have local bars and that participate in street dances and have participated in ice sculpture contests and and car shows and all this, and try to support business. And then they end up using their license for the chamber event. And then let's say they want to have a guy playing guitar out in their parking lot past 10 o'clock, right? I think 10 o'clock's our noise ordinance. And so they can't do that unless they quote unquote have a special event. So what that is then they've already used their 2 liquor licenses for that purpose. So the way that this works is now for a 1-day event that comes to the liquor commissioner, who would be me, I would approve that for a 1-day event if all the requirements are met. But at the same time, the liquor commissioner also has discretion up to your point. Whereas if your neighbor was bringing in a licensed liquor license holder from the area to have on the block every other night, that's a problem. Like that shouldn't be happening.
Right. Well, I know there are some establishments that are right across the street from a residential area. So
Yeah.
if that was my house and it was every weekend.
Correct.
I wouldn't have a problem
I'd be
removing
happy with that.
the 2 special events. The only problem I do see, and it's not you,
Sure.
one person should not call the shots. If you have an issue with a bar in town for some reason or other, you have sole control to say no event or yes event. If it went to a liquor commission where there was a commission that made that decision, I would have no problem with it. But for one person, I think that's dangerous.
Well, I don't disagree to a certain extent, but the issue, the 1-day special event is all the liquor commissioner has authority over. So with like Coon Creek Days, that's a special event. They have to go through the process of getting a liquor license, and then the liquor commission has to meet and that kind of stuff. For like Suds and Fun and that kind of stuff, the liquor commission has to meet because they're applying for a new license for that special event. This is a special, this type of classification exists in the liquor code now. The liquor commissioner has the authority to do so, but there's a limit to 2 events a year per licensee. So the issue came up because there's bars that are being a part of the community events for different things, but they're only allowed 2. So if you are serving at the street dance and you're also serving at the ice sculpture contest, then you can't do anything at your bar that would be different.
I think that's understood. I think what Trustee Costa is saying is that it should go before more than one person. If somebody is bringing in a request for a special event for 25 events in that calendar year, I think what he's saying is he wants it to be heard by more than one person to make the final decision.
But like I say, President Reed, I'm not talking about you. I'm talking about the next guy and the next
I
guy.
understand completely.
Let's make it a board make a decision instead of one person having that power over that entity.
You're looking at me.
No, I'm reading something, Trustee. I did not mean to interrupt in any way. 2 things. Number one, Trustee Costa is a general matter, and this is just because if you are a municipal lawyer to deal with liquor license laws, it's its own type of entity in the state of Illinois. There is a lot of authority that gets delegated to necessarily the liquor control commissioner, which by state statute has to be the mayor or his designee. And right, I mean, it's got to be the mayor or the designee is the final call. There is some level of discussion on what you're talking about, Trustee Colt. And I don't have the whole code in front of me, but if we draw our attention to page 98 of 131, page 4 of the ordinance, you'll see that it does talk about any such application shall be subject to review and approval and imposition of conditions in accordance with section 3-1-3 of this article by either the liquor control commissioner or the liquor control commission, as the case may be. So you are not the first person to actually have this thought or conversation. The other thing is, if I may go to Trustee Robinson's point, if you look at the previous page 3 of the ordinance, page 97 of 131, it talks about the types of licenses that this is used by. And it does give a list, and it says said licenses shall be designated as special event license, utilizes for churches, schools, corporations, associations, not-for-profit organizations, and other entities separately or in conjunction with a village-sponsored event. So while your point is well taken that you can't have the neighbor have a rave party or a big party every night, it's really the idea behind this is that type of different entity rather than the neighbor who wants to have a party every night.
I guess the neighbor was the bad example.
No, and I didn't mean to pick it over example.
I could think like,
If you think of it as an establishment or a bar that is located across the street.
Sure.
Say I live right there next to what?
That's the cave.
The cave.
We're not
or
picking at anybody. We're
No,
just raising.
or next to the Red Ox.
Sure.
And it's every weekend. And it's every till midnight, 1 o'clock in the morning.
Sure.
I'm not happy.
That's fair. My suggestion is if we do have a problem with this, Trustee Robinson, maybe we do put a pin in it and we bring it back just for review, not necessarily even a formal matter, but we take a look at it and see how it goes out. And if there is an issue, we readdress it after the season maybe, or if complaints come in. Obviously, we are adept at writing ordinances, and if it comes in 2 weeks, we can write an ordinance and hear it if there's a problem. And I hope that helps with the two trustees.
And it's not necessarily the case with Newman's.
Yeah.
There's houses right there in the back on the other side of the parking lot. So it's any establishment.
Right, I know, 100%. And then, and that's so that the noise ordinance that we have is something that everybody wanted. And so there's always a balance, right? So I'm with you though, Trustee Coles, in particular with one guy calling the shots. Because I don't think anybody should be, this isn't a monarchy. So the problem becomes having a liquor control commission meeting every single time there's an event. But I mean, that's not on us. That's on the businesses to get their act together.
And so we had this discussion once before. The problem with that is they forget and then they come to you 2 days before their event. Well, we need it.
Mhm.
And then she's got to scramble to try and get the liquor commission together to meet that 2-day demand. And my response to that is, how the hell are you running a business if you can't have it ahead of time on your schedule? You need to get.
Didn't the liquor commission meet prior to each village board meeting?
No, well, we have done that. So it's not.
So I mean, if you want to have a special event,
So from what
point, get your affairs in order and get it presented to the liquor commission on the first or third Thursday of the month.
Just 2 quick questions. In line with the, not on who says yes or whether it's a board or not. Excuse me. Let's take the examples that were given tonight. You got a street dance. The cave will sometimes set out a little bar area to serve right outside their building.
Mhm.
If they didn't do that, but they were open and you could go into their building and get alcohol, they don't need a special event license because it's there. If I'm Newman's and I have a band outside in the parking lot, but you have to go inside to the bar to get a beer or whatever your beverage of choice is, a Coca-Cola. I don't need a special event license because I'm going into the establishment.
If they stop the music at 10 o'clock, I think it is.
Right.
But if they want their music to go to 11, let's say, on a Saturday or something like that, you need to have a special event because that would be something that would have to be
Right.
approved.
This is where I'm getting to my question. I remember when we were doing the special event liquor license, and then we ended up doing a special one just for the park district because it was, they don't normally have a liquor license, but they're going to have a special event, so they needed a liquor license for that special event. What this is sounding like to me is these are establishments that all have liquor licenses. The special event isn't about selling the liquor. It's about just holding the event.
Correct.
Which I don't know why the liquor commissioner or the liquor commission even would determine a special event, because any establishment would be putting in for a special event and it's not a separate liquor license, right?
Well, no, so the other
Or am I
part,
wrong?
no, there's 2 things. So the liquor, like selling liquor on your property is one thing, right? Like, okay, but like as an example, we're talking about this, like Newman's will take and set up a table in the parking lot when the Chamber of Commerce does their car show, right? They provide the alcohol there, they use their liquor license there, but they're not on their property. So they have to do a special event.
Right.
To use their liquor license off-site. We have the banquet facility here, right? Gabber. And our bars go and they have special events, quote unquote, to sell liquor at the Gabber building because they don't have a liquor license.
But Gabber could get a liquor license as an event venue, correct?
If they so chose, yes.
Right.
For that one.
Which would then, well, no, for a year.
But then they would have to have their own bartenders and all that stuff.
Right.
So then let's say the Neon Cow wants to have a special event.
They don't have a liquor license. They don't sell liquor. They don't want liquor at their event. Do they need to come before the liquor commission to get this?
They would do a large group gathering plan.
Okay.
They would do a large group gathering plan and then, because that's the linchpin in all this.
So there has to be liquor involved in the special event for it to
Correct.
kick in here.
I think what's happened to the liquor commission, I've gotten calls that Newman's and the Cave were gonna have a special event on Friday. It's Wednesday. They forgot to come in. Remember those calls? We had to have an emergency meeting because they forgot. That's what this is to circumvent.
No, it's not.
So they don't have to forget no more.
No, it's not necessarily that, because the liquor commissioner already has the authority to do it one day at a time. That's not what this is to circumvent. To circumvent is the number of events they can do. That's the crux of this. And that's not even talking about this other modification to this.
Well, that was my second question I had is, there's three things. We've talked about special events, and then there's the section 3.122 that talks about allow for the suspension or revocation of a liquor license for non-payment of taxes, fees, other fines as required by the Hampshire Municipal Code. Is that just for special event liquor licenses, or is that all
liquor licenses?
I just want to make sure, because it seemed like they were all correlated, but I felt like that was probably all liquor
struggling to
licenses.
enforce things like the place greeting tax and stuff like that.
Totally understood. I just wanted to have the clarity that this isn't part of the first two, it's actually three different changes.
So,
Okay.
Trustee Coe, to your point, you want every special event to go before the liquor commission?
Well, I would assume if somebody owned a business, they'd have a calendar of most of their
You
events.
should.
Yeah, I would think so. But for the half a dozen times, we've had to have a special emergency meeting because they forgot they needed an event license. That bothers me. And again, for the record.
I understand.
Hang on. For the record, I'm not saying you.
I understand.
I'm talking down the road.
No, I know.
We don't need to have a politician have a chance of any impropriety by being able to,
So would you be in support of leaving the 2 limit, but giving them the option that if it's over 2, then the liquor commission needs to approve it?
yeah, even by phone call.
Well, no, you can't do that. You'd have to have a full.
No, you could raise the 2 to 5.
No, that's what I'm saying. Where's the compromise in this? What makes sense for you?
What makes sense for me is I don't think one person should call the shots on liquor.
And I agree.
On liquor,
Well,
not on video.
unfortunately,
Or this or that.
unfortunately, the state statute has the liquor commissioner it's pretty well, codified in the state municipal code that there's one person that has
Then
that.
take the
has
vote.
certain authority.
Take the
But
vote.
what I'm saying is that I'm with you as far as the protection goes. So what's the number? Is it 5? Is it 2? And after 2, then at all special events involving liquor need to come before the liquor commission?
I don't know, the rest of the board made this.
That's what I'm looking for, because I agree with Trustee Coe.
Yeah.
I think that you don't want to set a precedent where somebody could get in the seat and just approve them willy-nilly.
Yeah.
I don't disagree with this thought process.
Usually we have things come before the board because there was a concern in the community, right? What was the specific concern that led to a decision or a recommendation to eliminate the number of special events? Is it that there are some businesses that said, I would have 10 events, but I can only have 2? Was there some impetus that made it where it should be?
Realistically, there's a couple establishments that participate in chamber events on a regular basis, and they use their quota of special events for the chamber events, and then they can't do anything at their bars. That's what it comes down to. So I'll just call it what it is. Newman's as an example. They participate in every one of the chamber events, right? Whether they're selling spiked cocoa for the cocoa crawl, or they're at the car show, or they're at the street dance, trying to give people that option so that they're not bringing in like a food truck or they're not bringing in a separate booze vendor. But they participate in community events, and they say they like participating in community events, but they also like bringing in a band a couple times a year or something like that on their place and going to 11 o'clock. Or, and that kind of stuff. So then the trade-off becomes, do we not participate in local community events to just have these events at our place? So that's really what the impetus was. And so I'm with trustee Coe. Like, I'm with you for having the 2 emergency, whatever, 1-day things for the liquor commissioner to have, but then give them a method to request it. So, because right now, once you use them, you're done. So if we can give them that path, okay, so then you have to convene the liquor commission meeting. So then it's not one guy approving it, one person.
Yeah.
I'm all about it.
You could raise the number 2 to 5. I mean, the car show's the same week that it always is. Coon Creek's the same week, close to the same week that it always is. The events that these people are attending are like the same every year.
And I can speak to a special event as far as a bar having a band. I used to be in a band. You don't,
What instrument did you play?
that's irrelevant.
That's some AC/DC.
Anyway, the point is, if you're gonna go, so you're in band, you're gonna go book a show at a bar,
They're gonna know.
your show's not tomorrow night. You're doing that a month in advance.
I agree with
So
you.
the band can promote, the bar can promote.
I agree with
So
that.
you know that date well in advance, so you don't need to call the liquor commissioner 2 days before, say, we're having a band. I forgot we're having a band tomorrow night. So
Trust me, I don't disagree because we've had, but the amount of quote unquote emergencies that we have around here on a regular basis for things that should have been planned for is pretty.
Bars that forget to pay their water bill.
Well, and I'm sorry,
Oh, sorry, close one.
but to Trustee Coe's point, if you can't plan it out, then sorry, you can't have the license
Yeah.
that night.
No, I
It's a
agree with, I
responsibility.
agree
It's a
with that.
responsibility issue.
I agree with that, but the issue is that there's a limit. So that's the issue, is the limit.
I get the limit, but when you want to go over the limit, fine, then you have to go before the liquor. I mean, a band.
No, but that's great.
You gotta go before the liquor commission.
That's great.
That's what he's saying. That's.
I'm in.
Can we raise the limit from 2 to?
I don't think so. I don't think we should. I think that anything over two, then you convene the liquor commission.
Well, and that's fine, but I mean, we gotta give them some leeway. If somebody's trying to land, Eric Robinson LLC band and they can't get them, and all of a sudden the last minute they can get them, on Thursday they're notified, then Friday they wanna do it, they're not gonna be able to.
So then we have an emergency liquor commission meeting and it's the liquor commission and one other person.
But I also.
Can we raise the number?
Regularly scheduled meeting
Fine.
on an as-needed basis. It should be, as it used to be before a village board meeting, first Thursday.
So that's what I was gonna suggest as a compromise is that, what if it's that, whether it's the liquor commissioner or the commission that makes the approval, we have to do the other commissions, right? The second Wednesday of every month is the BDC, and if you want a facade grant program, you're waiting until the BDC meets on the second Wednesday.
Planning and zoning.
What if you did say liquor commission meets on a monthly basis before whatever, I'm making this up, I'm
Yeah, I
not suggesting it, but before the third Thursday meeting of the board, the liquor commission meets, and if you would like a special event, or you have 4 special events coming up.
I don't have a problem moving forward with maybe next year adopting some kind of standard schedule like everything. And if there's business, we meet. If there's not business, we don't meet. And that's the end of it. But the issue still becomes, what do we do about the limit? And so to everybody's point, I think that the 2 is fine for the liquor commissioner. Anything over 2, you have to convene the full board and then you stick to that schedule.
Yeah, so would you just change the wording then to say, to basically say what you just said, that it's up to 2 can be approved by the liquor commissioner, anything over that must be
In a
approved by
calendar
the.
year.
Can you say that?
Can
Our
we-
attorney looks.
Yeah.
We can table this whole thing. It doesn't matter.
You know what, I mean, as we're going back and forth with this, at this point, you're talking about if we leave it at 2 or whatever. Going from 2 to unlimited is the way it's listed here, which is a pretty stark change from 2 to unlimited. I like the ease of them being able to get because they're doing things at a lot of different festivals. So I could see raising it to 5. And then anything beyond that they would have to go before the commission itself. But I think we should still make it easier for them because you're right. If they do the cocoa crawl and the street dance and, mistletoe and everything, they So if it's at least 5, they can, then they know anything else, they'll have to come, towards the end of the year, they'll have to come before the liquor commission. But I think it just makes it a little easier because 2, you're gonna eat up pretty quick. The other thing is too, is, I live 3 blocks from Newman's, and when they have a band, it's loud. It's like they're right next door to me and I'm 3 blocks away. So no problem with that. It's like, enjoy the music and I'm on my deck enjoying it. But other people with kids.
Not everybody don't.
And if it's unlimited and they can do it all, then I think that's a problem. So I like keeping a limit on it, but I think 2 is not enough.
Fair enough.
I think 5 is a good number, at least to have a couple festivals and a couple bands in their own establishments. This also covers churches and not-for-profits and everything else. So it's not just those. It's, churches can have a, fish fry every
Catholics do like
weekend.
to drink.
Mhm.
I mean, we even offer wine and mass, so.
So
Special use.
what if that was
Part of the parking lot.
what if that was the compromise then to some of the concerns that were levied and another bad example, not as bad as the solar panels, but another bad one. Treat it like the chicken licenses where we say, look, we go up to 5. And if businesses say 5 isn't enough, because we're hearing businesses want to do more. So we say, okay, let's up it.
Yeah.
See how it goes. And if that's not good enough, then it can be reconsidered and we've got community that want to come back.
Well, and that's why I'm saying, I don't even think that's why my rather than specifying a limit in general, I'm not saying that it should be unlimited, right? But I think that there should be enough faith in the liquor control commission to be able to make those types of decisions. So my thought process is, to your point, is 5. And then anything over 5, they have to meet with the commission. And then realistically, I mean, it's made up of people from this board, right? Or any board moving forward. I think there should be enough faith in the Liquor Control Commission to make the right decisions based on the community. And so what I'm getting at is I'm not, what I'm saying is I don't think that we should specify that it's unlimited events.
Right.
I think that we just say that they have to meet with the Liquor Control Commission.
I think there's 100% faith in the commission. I think what the concern is down the road, you never know who's gonna be sitting in that chair.
I know.
There might be a concern with the commissioner.
Right, I agree.
The only one making.
Well, no, but you and I are saying the same thing.
Yes, we are.
Mr. Mayor, I think you.
So 5 and then 5
And then the
and then
commission.
with the commission.
Yeah.
Are we cool? Is
I think you
that
have a
The
consensus.
suggestion that we develop a regular schedule,
100%?
perhaps after the seating of the new board.
Yeah.
That would be,
Well, yeah, because you'll have the appointment of who's in the
Right.
liquor
Yeah.
commission.
yes.
It's generally understood though that the liquor commission will meet before a board meeting.
Right.
So that's
What I'm saying.
convenient.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
but to their point, if we adopt a regular calendar, and even if we don't meet, then this way, at least we have the teeth to say to a business, okay, the next scheduled meeting is,
Sorry, we can't approve you for.
and it'll give everybody some time back instead of having you scream.
An emergency session.
Trustee Coe, are you good with that? 5 and then the liquor control mission meets?
And again, for the record,
Oh, I
I'm
know.
not talking about you. I'm talking about the next person in that seat. We don't need.
And that's why I'm saying I don't want to put language in that it's, I don't want to put language in here that it's unlimited. To give people the wrong opinion, idea. I just want it to be that take your chances with the board, like we do with anything else.
Can we make a motion to amend this, or did you want it to go back and get fixed?
Come on, help me out here.
I don't know if is there a motion made?
There hasn't been yet.
Right, so then you can make the motion that includes the change to item 8, whereby it would read that, I'm sorry, page 4 of the ordinance, page 98 of 131. And it's my understanding that the ordinance would then read, a person or entity shall be entitled to no more than 5 special event licenses in any one calendar year, and thereafter shall apply to the Liquor Control Commissioner, upon which a hearing will be convened by the commission to recommend to the commissioner, who's got to go through the commissioner, on whether to grant an additional license or multiples thereof.
That's
So,
exactly what I was gonna.
very long motion.
Adopt that version of what he said.
I'll never be able to do that again. so- Right, that's it, right. So that's okay. We can wordsmith that a little bit, but that's what we'll do. So, but it's got to go through the commission or after a meeting of the commission. So,
That's the way it works.
yeah, that's just, as they say, take it up with Springfield, you know, like that's the law. And
100%. So
but we
basically,
can work.
Exactly what Toby had, I'm sorry,
Yeah.
trustee.
It's the best I can get. The best I can make that compromise work with the
100%.
state of the liquor
I
control.
think that that's fantastic.
Thank you.
So we have a motion made by trustee Palestrini with direct language from trustee Co through Counselor Vaselli.
Exactly.
So I need a second.
Second.
Perfect. Okay, any questions or comments?
I have one question on the motion itself.
Yes,
Is our motion to approve all three of these changes?
approving the ordinance, so all changes would be approved.
Okay, so it is what we just talked about, plus the allowing of a suspension or revocation of a liquor license for non-payment and clarifying the special event license is needed.
5 then hearing and goes through him.
As presented then.
Okay, just to make sure it was all three, we're not doing different ones to each. Okay.
Yep, that's it. So we do have a first and a second. If there's no other questions, I'll ask Ms. Clerk to call roll, please.
Vote, Mr. Coe,
Aye.
Mr. Matt,
Aye.
Ms. Palastrellini,
Aye.
Mr. Robinson, Ms. Fodor, aye, and Mr. Kelly. Motion passes 6-0.
For the minutes, the clerk is confused.
No. What, yeah, it's fine.
I think they're leaving that out of the notes if she was gonna use.
So Mr. Palastrellini will correct me and we'll work with her on the
She went to
wording.
the liquor commissioner for. Gone.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. With that, we would ask your consideration on an ordinance approving an intergovernmental agreement with the Village of Pingree Grove regarding the virtual training center.
Chief Man, what do you got for us?
Page 102 of your packet.
Sure. So, back when we received the funding for the simulator from the Department of Justice and, as part of that grant application and also as something that we just want to do to contribute to, the betterment of the regional, law enforcement community. We've invited Pingree, Gilbert's, Huntley, and Community Pacific, along with some other departments that didn't come to a training. So they have trained certified instructors to run our simulator and we want to offer the use of our simulator, the use of our facility to them on a regular basis, as I should say, on a scheduled basis. So they would come in and use our facility and use the simulators. But there's also a fee, an annual subscription fee for upkeep of the simulator. That's $20,000 a year. That obviously wasn't grant covered. So we want to offset that cost. And so the first agreement that we prepared here is with Pingree Grove to have them enter into an agreement with us to come in and use our facility. It's $200 per year per officer for the agency. So an agency the size of Pingree would bring in about $3,600 a year at a minimum. And then if they're using their own instructors to come in and run the simulator, run a class in our facility, there would be no additional fee. However, if they want to use our instructors, so if they ask us to put on a class for them, it would be $1,000 per 8-hour class for them to come in, and that would offset the cost of us hiring someone back to cover for the time that our officers would be tied up doing. We would welcome that on a limited basis, but that's not really what we want to do. What we want to do is have them, offer the facility to have them come in and use it and then help offset the cost. I have another IGA that I'm working on that will probably be on the next agenda with the school district, and then that'll be a little bit different than this one. But this one, once approved, I plan on seeking similar agreements with Gilbert's and with Huntley and Canadian Pacific for them to come in and use, and we should be able to offset most of the cost of our annual subscription for the upkeep on the simulator. So Jimmy,
And improve the overall safety of our community by
Of course.
see.
Yes, and it gives us a chance to work with our regional partners and to build the relationships and everything else, like, you know, that goes along with them coming in and using our facility. And then Jimmy's team worked on this to come up, you know, with all the legalese and, for an IGA. So that's what we're presenting right now.
Any questions, comments?
I wanted to comment, Chief, outstanding. I'm really excited that we're moving forward with that and gonna work together with the other communities. I also love the $1,000 if we did the class. We're always looking for ways to bring in additional monies for things for law enforcement. And, I think that's an excellent opportunity. Just even from the different things that you go to as a chief and, you know, conferences, et cetera, you know, offering that service to somebody in an 8-hour class, it's an extra $1,000 that comes in. So I just think opening it up for an option is wonderful. And I just wanted to commend you for that.
Thank you.
I have a question. So $200 per officer, so I've been in the simulator, I've used it, it's awesome, love it. I know that there's CO2 involved. Is the $200 going to cover the cost of all the equipment involved, or is that going to be an added on cost? So let's say Pingree comes in, $200, here's my $200 I paid. Is there another fee then for like materials, like CO2 to fill the tank so we can keep, or
I think it'll pretty much cover the cost of the CO2. I mean,
or any other cost?
You know, we have, there's been some question about weapons because, you know, we have certain weapons that we purchase to use with the simulator and, you know, and another agency may want to have, you know, a specific weapon that they all carry in their holster. So they want to buy those, but we'll make them buy those.
Okay.
And the kits to go along with it. You know, it's because the total price for one gun to do that is probably somewhere around, I don't know, $3,000 or $4,000. We wouldn't be paying that to have, you know, if they want to use something different, they can purchase that equipment themselves to do that. So it would really just be the CO2. And then the 20,000 should cover, the 20,000 annual service agreement covers any maintenance to the actual simulator itself that, you know, will be caused by use or so. There'll be some minor expenses, but I think.
But they're minor, it's not gonna hurt us in the long.
And if we can get everybody that we talked about on board, we should be able to offset that 20,000 almost completely. So then we'll have a little bit extra there to, you know, to be maintaining the equipment or the supplies.
All right. Thank you, Chief.
As the village risk management coordinator, I would like to see in addition to section 7, listing the village as additional insurance on their insurance certificates.
And you should run for a seat for the board, maybe you make the. No, I'm totally kidding. So
Our insurance company would.
So,
ask for that.
with that being said, Mr. Baselli,
Yes.
with concerns from staff, how do we approve this tonight with that? Do we just say that with the added additional insured provided by staff, and then you guys work it out?
Absolutely.
I mean, I hope we don't get problems with the rate. It's a great catch by the finance director. But my guess is they'd probably intend to do it anyway. So I think, I have a very elegant solution to that, as amended.
Oh, fair enough.
So if we have a motion in a second, we could just say with the agreement as amended and be done with it.
Because I trust, I agree with you with that. I'm just giving you a hard time.
So do we have to move to amend the contract to?
No, I don't think there was a motion. Yeah, I don't think there was a motion.
No, there isn't. That's why I said, do we need one? Right?
No.
The motion would have to approve as amended.
The contract as amended and be done with it. Yeah.
And they'll sign it.
Okay.
And you do need that motion, it should be.
Correct. So whenever you guys are ready.
I'll make a motion as amended. It's a good call.
Yeah.
It's a great call. Love it.
Yeah.
All right, so we do have a first and a second. Can you call over?
Mr. Matt,
Aye.
Mrs. Palastrellini?
Aye.
Mr. Robinson?
Aye.
Mrs. Fodor?
Aye.
Mr. Kelly?
All right.
Mr. Coe?
Aye.
Motion passes.
Thank you.
Thank you. With that, we would ask you to consider ask for a motion to approve payment number, payment number 1 for water well number 12. Equipment removal and inspection to Lane Christensen Company in the amount of $38,520. On page 116 of your packet. And Mr. Paulson is online if you have any questions. We talked about this at the last meeting. I think we provided some other information about the report from EEI on the progress so far.
Have we gotten the findings on the condition? Weren't we supposed to get
No, we talked about that last meeting.
It's in good condition.
I sent you all an update about a week ago, I believe, that had it was an email from Steve Dennison that described all the 5, I think there were 5 different components of the evaluation, and he gave us everything that they know now, but they don't have a complete cost yet, so we can't really put numbers to it, but there's.
You asked me about the pump itself, like when they pulled the pump out of the ground, like what condition it was in?
There was equipment that they were taking back to their shop that they hadn't evaluated yet. At the last meeting, we said that they hadn't evaluated it yet and that we would find out more. And so I did.
And I sent you all an email. There were 3 things in that email, if you recall. Last week, it had to do with the budget meeting. And then there was a specific reference to this because somebody here had asked for it.
Somebody, we don't know.
Tim, do you have those? Do you have that?
Yeah.
Steve, can you just read Steve's comments, please?
Yeah, the motor was inspected and is in good condition. So there's other items they're inspecting. They've completed the inspection. We're working with them, or Steve is working with them on the estimates for repair and replacement for the items, which includes, rehab of the well itself and well development to bring it back online. So we're working on those estimates. We think we'll have a draft report done by the end of next week, at which point we'd set up a meeting with Lane and village staff to go over things.
Right, so in the letter from Steve, it says Lane anticipates completing their inspection of the remaining equipment, pump, piping, and power cable within 2 weeks. That's what we're saying we're still waiting for.
They've done the inspection and they're working on their recommendations and cost estimating. Yes.
Gotcha. Okay.
Any other questions? I'll entertain a motion to approve payment number 1.
So moved.
Second.
Questions, comments? Clerk, can you call the roll, please?
Mrs. Palastrellini?
Aye.
Mr. Robinson?
Aye.
Mrs. Fodor?
Aye.
Mr. Kelly?
Aye.
Mr. Coe?
Aye.
Mr. Matt?
Aye.
Motion passes 6-0.
Next.
And we would like to request a motion to approve disbursements of impact fees for the Hampshire Fire Protection District in the amount of $48,620 and any interest earned. You have a letter from the chief on page 120 of your.
So moved.
Second.
Questions, comments? All in favor? Oh, wait, no, roll call, please.
Mr. Robinson?
Aye. No need.
Mrs. Fodor?
Aye.
Mr. Kelly?
Aye.
Mrs. Coe?
Aye.
Mr. Matt?
Aye.
Mrs. Palastrellini?
Aye.
Motion passes 6-0.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Look at that, we got through your report.
We did.
And everything got everything worked out well tonight. All right. Next is one of my favorite parts of the agenda where we look over our reports. So there's a police report and engineering report. Please review them at this time and ask Chief any question you have.
There's a slide missing from my.
I was gonna say page 122 looks a little
Like.
I just said it.
Page 124.
And 125. And
Wow.
26.
what happened here?
Well, some of them are missing. No, that's intentional. Those
Okay.
are intentional. The
That
first
was my
one is
question.
not. So I'm going to share it right now.
Okay.
Give me 1 second.
It's state of Illinois, not State Street, right?
Yes. I thought the same thing.
It's all.
I was like, how did they not get the station?
I know, I was like.
You didn't bring it before the liquor commission. I had it in.
Just show your
Shut down.
There.
Oh, man, that's perfect. I can see it from
Can
here.
you see it?
Yeah. No problem.
You know it's there.
Colors.
So, I mean, it was a good month. We are missing some of the reporting because we're moving to,
Connection to state stuff.
our state to our connection to the state to do our crime reporting through the state is down. So some of the fancy charts, that I usually put in there aren't available because
Did we pay the bill?
we're working with Canecom and Caney County to get that connection established. I guess I could just I'll give a real quick little update and then I'll move on. But our connection with our new records management system to the state to do the crime reporting. We've been waiting for the county to get their connection approved. They had to do crime reporting through the county for 3 months with the FBI and get certified. And since we're a child account of theirs, we had to wait till they got certified. And then we have to go through the certification process. So for the next 3 months, we'll be reporting data to the FBI, and then we'll be able to access that data again. So maybe I'll come up with some other information to put up on the numbers. But that's why some of that stuff is missing. And as far as the digital ticketing project, we're now fully using digital ticketing. We just got a racial profiling module completed now, so we're doing our racial profiling reporting to the state electronically, and then we are still waiting on one last piece, which will be where the data from each traffic ticket is automatically imported into the records management system. And it's something that, again, we're waiting on Kane County, but it's an active project and they're actually actively working on it right now. So yeah. Any other questions? Yes.
For the parking tickets, that includes the overnight parking, correct?
That's almost exclusively overnight parking. I don't have the specific number of breakdown, but I can tell you that the tickets for that current month number is almost exclusively overnight parking. Yeah.
Whether it snowed or not, it's just
Right. Yeah.
How much time does that take up?
Each one of them probably 5 minutes to write the ticket. And then they have to, and then once the ticket comes in, then it takes Gina probably, 2 or 3 minutes to get that data entered into the system. Karen has to, accept, or Karen's office up front here has to accept the payments. Yeah, so I would say it's probably 20 to 30 minutes of staff time for each ticket.
Okay. Thank you. It's a lot of time. Any questions for engineering? Trustee Coe, what you got?
Number 8, accounts payable.
Oh, perfect. All right, great job on the reports. Next, we have accounts payable. We do have accounts payable to staff in the amount of $539.46 to be paid on or before March 26, 2025. Do we have any questions about the accounts payable to staff? Hearing none, I'll entertain a motion to approve the accounts payable to staff. Questions or comments? Ms. Clerk, can you call the roll?
Aye.
Aye.
Mr. Poe?
Aye.
Mr. Matt?
Aye.
Mrs. Palastrellini?
Aye.
Mr. Robinson?
Aye.
Okay, 6-0.
So we do have a corrected amount to the corrected amount. It is $545,530. There is a $2 disparity due to a finance charge or some bill or something.
It's a credit.
Oh, wait,
That was
credit.
issued to the village today, and we make our Comcast payments electronically, so we have to make it the lesser amount because it won't take more, so.
So on to, so in full spirit of transparency, there is a $2 difference that we will be voting on this evening.
Okay.
I was hoping that there'd be more
Because
grants.
Comcast gave us a $2 credit after 6 months. No more details.
Do we hang that on the wall?
Yeah, we need 2 signatures on the check for that.
Next week, there'll be a $50 surge.
Any questions?
I just have one. On page 21, the Stark and Son trenching was 26,672, and I was just curious as to where the water main broke and,
That right behind Village Hall, is that what we got paid for?
No, that's a sewer repair, and that, has not come through yet, I don't think.
No, it's one on, was it
I think-
Washington or Warner?
Warner, I think it was
Warner,
Warner.
I think Warner and Washington.
Warner and Jackson.
Yeah, there was a big one.
so because this is dated 2/14, 2/12, and 3.
And the other one was,
So the $3,000 piece is, 408 Madison. The 200, the 3975 was at 211 Edgewood. The $6,000, or sorry, $15,000 one, 474 and 202 Warner Street. Also, $4,000 piece is for a repair at 167 Park. And then there was also a repair at 193 West Jefferson.
Yeah.
We've had a lot of thawing,
that was a
so
leak in Buffalo.
when we have thawing, we have problems.
Any other questions?
Thank you.
Did we just get a lot of bills that came in this month? Because
So
usually
we
we have,
missed a meeting,
missed a
and so this is a
this
double.
is 2 meetings.
Yes.
Two
Okay.
meetings worth
Yep.
of stuff. If
That
you
makes total sense to me now, because I'm like, these numbers usually means we have like a snowplow or something.
I would like to say, I would like to just point out that in my time here involved with the village, we've never canceled a meeting, not even during COVID. And we ended up canceling a meeting because we couldn't have a forum because everybody, including staff, was sick.
I was worried.
Makes total sense.
Any questions?
Yeah,
Yes.
it's not a large amount, but on page 24, under facility law, when's the last time we had a court reporter?
That last,
Hearing. Didn't we have it for the election hearings?
Yeah, for the election.
and then a month later, we had another meeting.
This one is in February though. Is that from the?
So if you look at the Selly law,
Yeah,
the first set of dollars that total the $3,000 is, that was, February billing. So it included all the information, or all the work done in February. And then January was the second set of information. And then it included the court reporter. That $1,700 number is for the second electoral, hearing. And so it was right at the end of December 19th, and I
That
don't
was the
think.
court reporter was
I
online.
just want to know, there's two, it's for two court reporters for the elections.
It's for one.
It's for one.
There were two court.
Nice try.
There were there were two court reporters for the elections.
right.
This invoice is for one, because by the time our bills went out, their bill had to come in, so we paid them the bill. And we wouldn't mind if you all reimbursed us for the payment of the bills for the.
Totally get it.
Oh, no, not,
That-
so that's $2,500.
That's what I was gonna ask Ms. Lyons. A rough estimate, please don't look up receipts or anything. Rough estimate, what did the election legal process cost the village to go through? Rough estimate.
I can be actually fairly precise if you'd like,
We asked them to code their expenses to those kind of topics.
Okay.
really quick.
I have another
Will
question
not take me
while
very long.
she's looking.
Yep.
Sure.
Are we current? When we issue this check, are we good? Like you're not volunteering anymore?
I would volunteer for you.
Write that down in the.
Okay.
Yeah, can you renegotiate fee costs?
Breaking my heart. I literally cannot talk about it. I am literally barred. I believe we are. I have to check with my staff. I will say that our, our office. Listen, I'm not the guy with the accordion and the banjo and everything. There's other people who work here.
That's what Eric played.
Far, right. Far smarter than me.
Little turn things.
But I will check with our office manager, but I believe we are. Thank you very much. And I want to thank staff we have a new law firm. So thank you all very much for supporting us and working on our billing. It does take some time. And I want to thank the staff for being patient with us this week.
Yeah.
Did I stall enough?
And I 100%
Exactly.
can confirm that we are paid, that February invoice has been paid. So we're waiting for March, which will come out in early April.
What is the liquor, on page 24?
Oh, yeah.
The liquor commission for 666?
What?
Whoa.
What?
I was
Page
getting curious
24?
about that one.
Page 24. Under Selling Law LLC.
Oh, it's a local establishment here that we've been dealing with. I can, you want me to see it out in public, I can.
Or we can talk about it after the meet, because it could be absolutely.
Yeah, so.
No, I know who it is.
Not trying to hide anything. If anybody wants to know, let me know.
It was just the.
The number was just
I
eerie.
think it's the address.
666.
I think it's the address. I think.
So,
No, it's the number, the billable
Oh,
hours
the
came out to
Oh,
666.
yeah.
yeah, well, that's, I think that there was.
Yeah.
The number, right, was that the band, sir?
Yes. So Ms. Lyons, you had a number for us?
Yes. There were, the total expenses were 7,188.05, and there were 28.54 hours.
So 7,100, what?
88.05,
That's what the 2 hearings, the court reporters, all of it.
right. Legal research, et cetera.
Thank you for
No,
that. I'm just curious on what like that type of motion would cost the village to go through, because I know legally we have to go through it and there's process. But there's
That's all the hearings and all that other stuff, but that's not like the clerk's time on top of that, having to get the clerk, having to get the notifications to the county and all this other stuff. And then we had it right after Thanksgiving that we had to send police officer that had nothing to do with this up to the off the street because we had to beat a deadline. And there's a lot. We're probably pretty close to $10,000 invested in this with the amount of stuff, with the amount of staff time and stuff that we had to do with the amount of hearings and notifications and going up to the county and all of this stuff. So am I close in that about 10? I'm not making that
Yeah,
figure
I
up.
think that's fair. If you take into account all the time, plus court reporters, plus our time. And obviously I don't have a pro rata for police officers. I don't have a pro rata for clerk.
Just say.
So I would say yes.
That is.
That's fair.
And it happens every election.
Right.
So.
This doesn't happen.
No.
Plus, yeah,
It's happened twice in my tenure, I think.
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, it's happened a few times.
Yeah.
I've seen
I've seen
twice
it
since I've
three
been here.
Yeah,
I'm gonna say it's
I'm saying,
twice
I
since-
think,
I've been
I think it's been 3 times.
3 times.
Two times.
Yeah.
I think it's been 3 times. Anyway,
First year here for my first election.
okay. So I will entertain a motion to approve the accounts payable in the amount of $545,530, thanks Comcast, and 88 cents.
So moved.
All right, I have a first and second from Mr. Kelly and Mr. Mott. Any questions? Ms. Clerk, call the roll, please.
Mr. Kelly,
Aye.
Mr. Coe,
Aye.
Mr. Matt,
Aye.
Mrs. Palastrellini.
Aye.
Mr. Robinson,
I,
Mrs. Fodor.
Aye.
Motion passes 6-0.
Mr. Hedges, I see the light at the end of the tunnel. Thank you very much.
you're welcome.
Any new business?
Yeah, committee reports.
Nope. Not covered. No, go ahead.
No, that's okay.
No, oh, is that because your meeting got canceled?
So BDC meeting was canceled. We did have some come for the meeting, but unfortunately we didn't have enough for a quorum, so Mr. Connell, that after 15, 20 minutes, we decided to.
The college will, right? Or doesn't show.
20 minutes.
So my guess is that the next BDC meeting will be the second Wednesday of April. See everyone there. Can I go into the budget committee now?
Yes, sir.
Wonderful.
Thank you for hitting.
The budget committee met last Thursday, as well as board members, as everyone is invited. It's a committee of the whole. We reviewed the recommendation by staff for the general fund, the street, the sewer, and the water funds. There were some tweaks and changes that are going to be made to some of those and some of the way it was reported, but it was a good discussion. The next meeting will also be a committee of the whole for anybody who would like to come and be a part of it. It is next Thursday, 6:30. 6:30 here. And we will be going over the rest of the funds. So we will not revisit the ones that we've already done. We will continue into the budget for the rest of the funds. That will be the final budget committee meeting to review the budget before it is put into a final draft mode for board consideration. So if you would like to attend, I highly encourage it next Thursday. And And that's the one where we're going over like the hotel motel and special funds and what's that? Yeah, everything that's not just really the general business of the village. After that, staff will go back with any recommendations from the committee, as well as anything that we find that needs to be adjusted. And then they will prepare the final budget for consideration to get to the full board. And we'll go through the rest of the schedule accordingly so that we can hit the deadlines. Ms. Lyons, anything you'd like to add?
So I'm scheduled to get next draft out with the remaining funds tomorrow. If I can't make that up for sure, we'll get it to you on Saturday. So you'll have about a week to review it before next Thursday.
And that will go to the whole board. So everyone, and everyone should have gotten the last one too.
Should have, yep.
I don't really like Saturday. Like, and I mean that is just saying that you're entitled to your weekend.
I understand.
And so like, I would think that the budget committee could give Ms. Lyons a little bit of grace for Monday morning so that she doesn't have to work on a Saturday. I think that that's fair.
Yeah.
Don't email it.
Okay. All right. I'll do my best to get out tomorrow.
You need your, no, what I'm saying is you need your time. So if it's not till Monday, not till Monday.
Right.
Now, don't rush to get it out tomorrow.
So why don't we say no later than Monday? And if it happens tomorrow, great, but no later than Monday.
Okay, thank you.
All right.
If it happens tomorrow by 4:30.
Yeah, but don't be like, correct. Yeah, yes.
Not 9 PM.
And you know, there's not much you're talking about right now. More important than the 10 minutes tomorrow afternoon. Just for the record.
I don't like his tone. You know. New business?
Is there any way we can, strong arm Canadian, Pacific Railroad into fixing the tracks?
They plan to, but it's about a year away, I think.
Yeah, we, in the agreement, they had to complete the repairs within 5 years.
I mean, we were the first ones one of the first to jump on their bandwagon.
Understood.
We got the parking lot of it.
Yeah, we did get that.
We will get a quiet zone and we'll get new tracks.
I mean, those tracks are bone jarring.
No, well, I guess the question is can we reach out to them and see if they can put stone down on the bottom or something? Because I think that they
can reach out to them.
What I'm saying, what I'm saying is I think that those plates come up and then they put stone underneath them to level it out.
I can ask.
Concrete.
Oh, really? They don't put gravel underneath it? They can't do that temporarily either? Trees.
They move too much.
I'll look,
Well, I don't know.
I'll look into it, Mr.
There's all
Mayor.
that ballast
Like,
on the rails. I mean, same thing.
I have one thing. If you, for any community members that watch or for anybody else, April is when yard waste pickup begins
Yeah.
again with Flood Brothers. And I only bring that up because it will have happened before we meet at our next meeting, which will be the first Thursday of April. So I believe yard waste begins in a week and a half. For anybody that's doing yard cleanup from the snow, heat, snow, rain, ice, heating.
April.
That's just one day.
Yeah.
That'd be April 1st is over.
Yeah, April 1st is first pickup.
And our first meeting. Right?
So,
No,
That's a Tuesday.
April 1st is a Tuesday, so it'll be the first, second, third.
April 3rd.
One other thing, I went to Springfield this week and I testified in front of the House Committee hearing for cities and villages. Kind of a new experience, but we as Metro West are lobbying for a bill that's being presented by Representative Ness to allow non-home rule communities throughout the state to issue business licenses for methods of enforcement and that kind of thing. So like we just amended the liquor code so that we could use the liquor license to enforce certain things. We don't have the authority to issue liquor or business licenses at the current time. So we passed out of committee and now it's going to go to the House of Representatives after a second reading. Because they have to make an amendment based on the Illinois Farm Bureau opposed the bill because they thought they had the ability to go after like farmers markets and stuff like that. And we're really trying to go after like bricks and mortar to give them a tool in our toolbox. So the bill number is HB 2790. If you guys are interested in following it, kind of a unique experience going down to testify in the committee rooms and all this kind of stuff. And hopefully it goes somewhere to give us another tool for enforcement for our, safety of our residents.
Will this include, I mean, almost every house on my block has a business out of it.
Well, that's the purpose of it, is so that if they're here, we can license them. And we can use, we can put it in our ordinance to license them, even home-based businesses and stuff like this. So, not saying we have to, but it's an option. So, but that's the number one concern that we always have with like food trucks and different businesses that are here, not paying into sales tax and that kind of stuff. How many times have we talked about how do you know what businesses are operating in your community, that kind of thing? And so, again, for methods of enforcement, we don't have the authority. 83% of the towns in villages and cities in the state are non-home rule communities. 17% of them are home rule. And so we just are asking for that same authority that they have for the same purpose.
So say home rule can already do this.
Home rule can already do it.
Is there a way to, just because if they have a business, they're filed with the state. So is there a way to find out every single business that is filed from Hampshire?
We can look at the sales tax reports and stuff like that, but it's not as easy as you might think, because what I'm getting at is they could operate out of their garage, but they could have a PO box somewhere else, you know? And so like, that's why some of this legislation helps in the fact that if they are operating here,
Somebody's chicken license.
we can go after them, kind of deal. Like, but just because we have the authority doesn't mean that we wouldn't have to grant ordinances to approve it. So it's not just because the state gives it to us. So we'd have to adopt ordinances to enforce it because it's optional.
What is,
But
Chickens.
it's something we've talked about at this board for a long time.
what is the population threshold number for home rule?
I think
Is
it's
it 25,000?
25,000.
Okay.
You automatically become home.
Correct. You can always
But
vote
we
in.
could
by
put a
referendum.
referendum to become home at any.
And once you're to 25,000, it's automatic. I don't think we're any close to point to that.
Rockford had it on their ballot to become home rule and they voted it down because Rockford is not home rule.
They don't.
They had it and
Terrible.
voted it out.
They voted it.
Sorry.
Sorry.
No. It's the one, it's the only place I know.
No, they voted it out. They're trying to get it back and they voted it down.
They voted it down.
Yeah.
That referendum does not pass.
How can, sorry to keep it, how can you vote to get out of it once
You can opt out. You can pass a referendum to opt out if you have 25,000 plus one people.
So then you need a referendum to opt back in?
Then
And
you
obviously
get-
the city didn't initiate that. That was resident initiative.
One point I want to bring up, we've got a tentative date then for the
No,
groundbreaking.
that was next. Perfect.
Okay.
Awesome. So the groundbreaking for Public Works, April. I'm gonna say 11. We talked about 10, but I just want to be safe. I think we'll do 11. Can you guys be there? Can board members be there on that day?
I can.
It's a Saturday, right?
It's a Friday.
It's a Friday. No.
Saturday.
Well,
Always off.
I
cannot be there.
What the schedule is.
I'm out of town that day.
I'll be there.
Let me check.
It's during spring break and that kind of stuff.
Ooh,
Oh, yeah, then no.
The pretty show.
what day?
April 4th.
Yeah, I can make it.
Yes, pretty sure.
Friday.
I'd like some representation of the board there in one way or another.
Can we not do it during spring break? Is there a reason why we chose the 4th?
Because we want to get the project started.
How about the week before?
How about when?
The week before?
That would be next Friday.
It's a weekday, I gotta work.
Yep.
I'm not taking.
Is that too soon?
These two.
We have some, they have to order some
We'll get
things.
people that could be hungry.
I can find out if next week would work.
Okay.
No, I'll be there. I'll be there on until we can.
It's
be
kind of
there.
hard. I mean, they asked us if we wanted to have it in the evening or not, but, you know, it gets dark. Don't know
Around 7
about
o'clock.
the weather. So, it's kind of hard to accommodate all of you,
Understood.
but would love to.
Yeah.
I'd like to have at least 3 trustees, I think.
So what is it,
Can we do it
fourth
on
or?
a Saturday? Is there a reason why we can't do it?
Yeah, you could. We have to pay our people and probably lamp other people, but,
Yeah, they're all gonna get time to
They're
hand.
gonna get time to hand.
you know, we plan on having Dave and all his guys be there and, all of our
You should
employees.
make it work for those guys.
You guys good with the sports over there? Looking at you, Dave.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
It's gonna start there now.
We'll go over right now, lighter.
Fourth, how are you digging it?
It's gonna snow 4 feet that day.
All right.
Okay.
Well,
I'm gonna park on the street.
So what is our number then that can come?
Kobe, myself. So far. What I got?
You tell me, give me a different date on that.
Yeah, what do we got? What other dates?
Like December.
7th.
That's pushing it out. What do we got that's closer?
I mean, we're gonna move dirt whenever we move dirt. No, I'm serious. This is just a symbolic gesture.
Oh, okay, all right, all right.
You're not holding up they're gonna put a nice sign up. They're gonna put shovels with everybody's, you know, what the.
I know this thing is something that we've been working on for years. That's the only reason why.
Yeah.
Just pick a day, Jane, and if they're there, they're there. If they're not, they're not.
I did that.
Yep.
And now we're getting feedback.
Okay. So it's the fourth?
Board, everybody received an invitation today, and I think I received one response back.
No.
Cause I wanna be-
When you send the thing out?
Sometime this afternoon.
Well, I don't look at my phone all day long.
Well,
So Steph Jobs.
5:30. And
Oh, I was in the shower. You can't do that. You gotta do it from like 7 to 3.
Some of us work then,
yeah.
Right, but get your phone with you.
but I'm not on it every day.
Oh, I can't be honest.
Some of us shower now.
The fourth at 11?
I'm just listening to you guys. I'm just sitting here.
Sounds like it's the 4th at 11.
AM.
Yeah,
That was,
Mike asked us to change it to 11.
that's why I'm asking. So
I asked to change it to 11.
I know, so I'm trying to figure out if he accepted your change.
Oh, it's not up to me to do that. believe me.
Well, but
Yeah, that's all the power I have over there is to move it that here.
Ask Jimmy when he can be here.
Jimmy's not
He
coming.
ain't gonna be here.
Don't look over here. You guys have to.
I don't really allow it. We don't
I'm
want
trying
it.
to respond to your RSVP request, but I needed to know if it was actually 10 or
Can
if
you,
it's
can
11.
you be there at 11? On the
I
4th?
don't know, because I don't know what our plans are until this weekend is over.
Call and sick.
And then
She's gonna punch you.
Now everybody knows that she's gonna fake me. So on video.
I,
Okay, we'll talk about it, but right now that's where it sits.
Let's pick a date. You gotta pick a date.
the date is fine.
Next week, it's coming quick.
The date is fine. I just wanted to know if it was 10.
11 o'clock.
Right now it's the 4th at 11.
Okay.
Done.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Been a bad day.
Motion to adjourn.
Bad number.
So-
I have a first,
Second.
second, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
What happened?